not regret this choice that you have made. Because today is the start of an important process where we partner with our family members for the success of your child or ward. We understand clearly that it takes a village to raise a child. We understand even clearer the requirements of the higher education space. And we know that the partnership between our institution and you, the parents and family members, is of utmost importance to the success of the UWI student. And so here we are this morning, inviting you to be in our space, understanding that we have been separated for an extended period owing to the challenges of COVID-19. We know many of you would have been impacted in various ways by this pandemic. We know the mental health challenges, we know the financial challenges, we know the grief that many would have borne. And today, we stand with you as the UWI. We want to help you in this process of navigating the challenges of the day. But importantly, our intention is to set your child, your ward, on a firm foundation that will allow for the student to successfully navigate the academy. Parents, we thank you for the body of work that you did while they were in their respective secondary learning institutions or other places of learning. We know that you spent countless nights just being up with them. We know you'd have provided them with the financial resources. We know that you became counselor and guide and friend. We know even when you could not fully understand the subject matter that you found tutors and persons who delivered extra classes supporting your child or ward to get to the level of tertiary education. We thank you for the sacrifice that you made. And here we are today, sitting in a noble place right here on campus, engaging in a conversation about the success of your child or ward. We have brought you here to be able to share with you critical and relevant information about how you can partner with us in making it a beautiful journey for all involved. We want and we will be sharing with you today information regarding academic matters, information regarding funding and financial obligations, information about the beyond the classroom learning experience, which is so critical in making your child that distinctive UWI graduate, the whole person as it may. We will be sharing with you critical information about safety and security. We want you to understand about halls of residence and accommodation generally on campus. We want you to meet key officials of the university. We want you to be able to create a network with other parents to provide support systems. We understand that for many parents, your child is the first of the family who is accessing tertiary education. And therefore, you may not have the kind of support within the family structure to help the person to grow, to develop, and to progress. And we want to connect you with other parents that you can bounce information off and just provide a network of support for your child or ward. We here at Mona promise a first-class education to your child or ward. But in an effort to deliver that, we want to share with you some ways and means in which you can assist us in this process. And therefore, parenting a student at the tertiary level is a little bit different from parenting a student at secondary level. So we're not going to send you report cards. When you hear a student say, I am up all night in the library, that's true because the library opens pretty much 24/7. We expect that you will lend support, by being there for your child, by providing the resources, by providing the kind of atmosphere in the home to allow them to succeed, or if they're living here on campus, that you allow them space to grow and to develop while checking in with them, periodically. And so parents and family members, I greet you well. I look forward to the engagement today. And I sincerely hope that at the end of the proceedings, you will have a better understanding of what it takes to parent a university student. And we would have started a partnership that will redound to the success of your child or ward. I really appreciate your being here today. I look forward to the conversation that we will have. And I guarantee you that we will hold hands to make it a success for your child or ward. In continuance of the conversation, I present to you our Deputy Principal, Professor Ian Boxill, who will at this moment bring you greetings.
Good morning. Let me do that again. Good morning. And we are met with a beautiful day, isn't it? I want to begin by acknowledging Mr. Jason McKenzie, who just spoke with you, who's the Director of the Office of Student Services and Development. I know he and his team have been working assiduously to get us going for the new year. I also recognize and acknowledge Dean Designate Ricketts from the largest faculty in the university, the Faculty of Social Sciences. And for those who are wondering, at this event, we don't necessarily have all of our deans, so if you're in another faculty, you will not necessarily see all of your deans today. But if you're in the social sciences faculty, this is your incoming dean. And of course, your student rep, your student leader. Our student leaders play an important role here at the university. So, Ms. Wilson, Guild President, take a bow. You are a critical stakeholder. And of course, how the University of the West Indies operates, we believe that the student voice is very critical to the development of our students. Because think about it, if there were no students, there would be no university. So therefore, our most important stakeholder, of course, is our students. So this is why our student leaders, and particularly our guild president, is always here with us. So you will hear her later. But of course, today is the day to speak to those who work with the students, the parents, the guardians, the loved ones, the partners, those who are associated with, who give support to the students. We welcome you all, and today is your day because you too will play an important role in the development of that child or adult who will participate in a University of the West Indies education for the next 3 years or 4 years, whatever the nature of the degree. I want to begin this morning by talking a bit about hope. For those of you who might have watched the Hunger Games in 2012, the President Snow said to those who participated in those games, "Hope is the only thing stronger than fear." And for those of you who may be more biblically inclined, Romans 8:18 tells us, "I consider that our present sufferings are not worthwhile comparing with the glory that will be revealed." And of course, if you're not a Christian, one might also extract a saying or a verse from the Holy Quran, if you're a Muslim. "Oh, verily, with the hardship, there is relief." And of course, if you're Jewish, I might quote a Jewish proverb which says, "He that cannot endure the bad will not live to see the good." In all of these quotes, what they reveal to us is that life is comprised of both good and bad, and one cannot know good without bad. But even in the midst of what may seem hopeless and bad, there is always good to be revealed somewhere at the end. And I say this because, as the director said in his opening remarks, we were closed for 2 years, we were closed to the normal activities on campus for 2 years. And for those 2 years, many of our students were not able to reap the usual benefits of having this type of interaction. And this happened all over the world. And you know, there are some people who are still fearful of coming out. We have many people who still think that we should continue the bulk of our work in a virtual space because we do not know what will happen come September. But I say to you, we cannot live our lives in that way. We have to plan for the worst and prepare for what we think might actually happen. So I'm optimistic. I think we are all optimistic, and that is why we are here. And this is why we are pleased to see so many parents, guardians, friends here today. Because I can say, for the past 4 or 5 years I've been doing this job, I have never seen so many glorious faces sitting in front of me. So give yourselves an applause. And this dean, student, leader, director, this is a good signal. And it should signal to those in the institution who feel that we should tiptoe around this thing, that we should go full steam ahead. Because there's a benefit, an additional benefit from engaging and interacting in the classroom. And let me give you an example. 2 weeks ago, I got an email from a student who asked me to write her a recommendation. I said to the student, how can I write your recommendation and I don't know you? I've seen you once or twice on in a Zoom call, but that's about it. We've never engaged, we've never interacted, so there's nothing I know about you. So how can I write a recommendation for someone that I've never really known? And I would say that this is a similar problem that many other students will have when they ask persons, lecturers and others, to write recommendations, because you see an image behind the screen and you presume that's that person. But when you're in front and you engage another person, it's a totally different dynamic. But let me say that while many institutions close their doors completely, we here at the UWI never closed our doors completely, because last year about 30% of our classes were held in a face-to-face mode. So we've had a lot of practice. And even during the height of the pandemic, our halls remained open, and we still conducted some of our classes in a face-to-face mode using all of the relevant protocols. So I want to assure you, first of all, that we've been practicing, we've been preparing, and we're ready. And having you here, and having, as I said, these really bright, glorious faces sitting right in front of us, is an impetus for us to sail and move forward for the next semester and the coming years. I want to mention two quick things before I depart. Firstly, that there are additional benefits from coming to the UWI for getting a degree. Our university, as you know, and UWI has a history of not really putting itself out there too much, but we've been told by a lot of people that that's a failing. So let us change that a bit. We're an institution that can boast of 3 Nobel laureates. No other institution in the Caribbean area can do that. We're an institution that's a federal institution that stretches across 15 countries. We have almost 50,000 students. We have 5 campuses. And we have extensions across most of the continents. Of course, we're not in Antarctica, but who knows? One day, we may send a research team there. So we have a wide reach. We have a reach across the world. We are a regional institution with a global reach. And so when a student comes here, we would like to think that you're not only coming to a national institution, but one that is regional in its character, and one that has its tentacles spread across the world, from Africa to Europe to Latin America. Last year, in the midst of the pandemic, I was in West Africa. Yes, in a small plane where people were afraid that they might get COVID. And I got to Ghana, and one of the amazing things about being there was that almost everything was normal there. People were going to work, going to school. But right across from Ghana in Nigeria, I got an invitation to speak at an institution which is connected to the UWI. It is a program that was started by the Vice Chancellor, the sitting Vice Chancellor, where students in a postgraduate program can actually visit this institute, the University of Lagos in Nigeria. We have similar institutes in Colombia, in New York, with the State University of New York, and there are others in Europe. So, to reemphasize, when a student comes to the UWI, they are joining a global family. That's one of the first pluses about coming to the UWI. The second one we would like to believe is that we would like to believe that what we have to offer is second to none. This is not to say that others don't have a lot, and in so many cases, equally good things to offer, but we would like to believe that when they come here, we have quite a bit to offer them, that we can say when they leave that they have had an education that is beyond question. We are ranked #1 in the Caribbean, and we are ranked among the top 2% of universities globally. So that with a UWI degree, we expect that the student would be able to compete not only locally, regionally, but also globally. And as our global village shrinks, we expect that more of these opportunities will be sought abroad. Just ask our nurses. But I don't need to convince you because you're already here. So I'm preaching to the converted. I just want to reassure you in case there might be doubts. It's good for that reinforcement. The last thing I would like to say is that we thank you for recognizing that in a modern world, education is key. The great American writer Mark Twain once said, "The person who does not read books has no advantage over the one who cannot read them." So he's making a very important point here. And it is that it is not enough to be able to read. And when we say read, we are not speaking about the casual, ordinary meaning of read, but we mean to study, to engage with that material in a cerebral way, in a rational way, in a way that challenges our intellect. So he's saying it is not sufficient to have the skills. Because if you have the skills and you don't use them, how are you different from someone who doesn't have those skills? So reading becomes important, and hence studying, advancing oneself through education becomes critical. And in this modern world, education is the key for many people to move ahead in life. It has always been, and it will remain so until the world transforms into something we are no longer familiar with. So again, I want to congratulate you and compliment you on making the right choice. An investment in education is an investment for life. Someone can take your house. Someone can take your land. In fact, your land is not even yours because we all come and see land and we leave it. You can't dig up land and take with you, so that's even less of a case. You can lose a car, but you can never lose an education. If you go from here to Timbuktu, you can take your education. Does not matter where you go. It is that asset that you take with you for life. And it is that asset that you can exchange for something, no matter where on earth you go. So let me congratulate you for taking the step and to recognize the importance of that asset. I want to leave finally with a quote which I believe captures why you're here today. And it is again from a writer. Notice I like writers, because writers have the ability to tell us things about ourselves in a way that scientists can't, because what they're doing is reflecting their own personal experience. And your personal experience is not yours. It is others too. It is just that yours is slightly unique. And this quote goes, "They say a person needs just 3 things to be truly happy in this world: someone to love, something to do, and something to hope for." Yes, that word hope again. I see in here today the first one, someone to love. So you're here because of that person who will start UWI in the coming year. Something to do. because presumably when they graduate, they will work in an area that they've been trained in. Not necessarily the case, but they could very well do this. And finally, something to hope for. We live on hope and we live on faith. We cannot but do this because we do not know what will happen in the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. We as human beings can only live by hope and faith. And so, by virtue of your presence, by virtue of choosing the UWI, by virtue of stemming the tide, moving on with your lives, putting COVID behind us, recognizing that it has not gone, by virtue of your simple presence today, you have embodied everything in that quotation. And for this, I want to express my deep appreciation on behalf of the UWI, and certainly Principal Weber, who would have been happy to be here today, and all of the executive of the UWI Mona. I want to express a warm welcome and appreciation for coming here and joining the UWI family. I wish you and your ward, your child, your friend, your partner, a wonderful, cerebral, productive stay with us. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause for our Deputy Principal. Indeed, words of wisdom, profound words. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of our campus bursar, Mrs. Catherine Park-Thwaites. Could you please stand and be recognized, Madam Bursar? Thank you so very much. She has facilitated a very, very important process for us today, where parents or family members who wish to make payments, the bursary, the cashier section of the bursary or student administrative service is opened. One step across there, and you're able to engage in making payments if you so choose to do, in whatever format you want to make that payment. And so, Bursar, we thank you for facilitating such an important process for parents and family members. Other team members are here. Ms. Carisha Larman, Commuting Students Office. Could you please stand and be recognized quickly? Dr. Anne-Marie Williams, who is from the Office of Placement and Career Services. She'll help your child to navigate career planning and career development and all of that. Mr. Mark Nelson, Student Services Manager for the Marlene Hamilton Hall or Graduate Student Facility, and other team members you'll meet in short order. It's my distinct pleasure to invite to the lectern the president of our Guild of Students. Student government is important to us here on the campus, and we ensure that our students have a voice and they're adequately represented on all the major committees of the university. And there's no better person to hear from with regard to this than the president of the Guild of Students. I invite Ms. Omalora Wilson to bring you greetings at this point in time.
Mr. Jason McKenzie, Director of the Office of Student Services and Development, Professor Ian Boxhill, the Deputy Principal for the University of the West Indies, Dr. Heather Ricketts, Deputy Dean prior and now the upcoming Dean for the Faculty of Social Sciences, resident advisors, Student Services and Development Managers, and other members of the university administration, parents, spouses, family members, and students who I'll get into very soon. As the UWI Guild President for the academic year, I, with great dignity, welcome all on behalf of the UWI Guild Council 2022-2023. Good morning. Dare I say, great people attend university, but the greatest join the Pelicans. Now, University of the West Indies, see, we know that. The University of the West Indies, it boasts 7 faculties and 10 halls that stand strong within a light that is rising, shining, just being glorious from the West. Now, this, of course, is what we call family and parent orientation program, but I do know that some parents had made it, opportunity to bring their students along with them. Now, what does it mean to be a Pelican parent? It means that you rally and you support your students and your particular Pelicans that are attending the university throughout all the joys, throughout all the disappointments, all the legacy and lessons that they will learn and bring on to others. Your job as a parent is to rally and support, which means that this is your opportunity to ask all the questions, to visit the different offices, to even see the halls, speak with the student services and development managers, because when August comes and it's students orientation, look at me parents, take a good look. This will be the first and the very last that we should see you. To be very honest, your students are coming in at the university as adults. They have graduated and left that particular space in which you're now, you have to do this for them, you have to do that for them. You're now rallying and supporting, and so you must give them that opportunity and the initiative to be independent. So it's nice to see you parents at Parent and Family Orientation, and I hope not to see you parents at Students Orientation. Nonetheless, I want to take the opportunity to acknowledge the students who were forced to be here this morning. I ask you to stand if you're upcoming Pelican for the academic year so that I can identify you, meaning that your parent has told you this morning to put your clothes on because you're coming to UWI. Let me see you if you're going to be joining the university for the upcoming academic year. So I'm inviting you to stand at this moment. Let me see them. Look at that. Half of them. Oh, all right then. Now you students, and those in YouTube, I hope you commented as well, you students can get a long look because this is the first of many that you will see my face. Now you may be wondering, what does it mean to be the student leader? What does it mean to be a student representative? What does it mean to be the forefront here at the University of the West Indies? And just for time, I want to explain to you how it works. The minute you have been accepted, or the minute you have been offered an opportunity to study here at the university and you've accepted that, you have automatically joined what we call the Guild of Students. And the Guild of Students is the official body of student representation of the Mona campus at the University of the West Indies. It started in 1951, and we're 70 years strong and moving on to 71. And so each academic year, what we do, we elect a body of students to serve and represent you, to be that voice of reason, to be that echo for you at any sort of meeting, any sort of committee, whatever it is that you have, whatever it concerns, whatever welfare that comes to mind, that is what we do. So I, along with 44 other members here at the university, 44 other students, we're here, we're elected to serve you for the academic year. Those include your hall chair and deputy, those include your faculty rep and executives. And we have numerous plans and events that we have prepared for the academic year, and with you students and you parents, we expect nothing short of excellence, as we say at the UWI Guild Council. Together we can make it happen. The welfare of students is represented by us all. But as a representative for the UWI Guild Council, I find it fit to tell you parents that the rest of your child's life rests in their hands and not necessarily your hands. The most you can do is pay that school fee and that hall fee. They now must read for their degree. Amongst us, we have to know as well that everything you do as a student, you do for your future. A true parent knows that balance is important, and while your student comes here, your child comes here to learn the rich culture of the hall and the university, your child's degree is imperative. The university ensures that it's a path for great opportunities, and we recommend that you ensure that your child capitalizes on this. Ensure that they get involved in extracurricular activities. Ensure that they're active in organizations, clubs, and societies. And remember how important peers and friends are on this journey. Also remember as well that administration is here to guide you, and as such, ensure that your child knows how important it is to speak with them. Parents, it's a privilege to see you. Like I say, probably the first and the last. Students, it's a greater privilege to see you. Like I say, first of many. And I, of course, want to say again, welcome again to the University of the West Indies. I expect nothing but the best from you as supportive and rallying parents, and nothing but the best from your Pelican as you have joined the true great university. Thank you.
That's a mere sample of the quality of students that we produce here on the Mona campus. And as I invite Ms. Williams and her panelists on stage, and we ask our IT support to provide them with mobile, cordless microphones. If, it's oftentimes you'll hear from us as administrators, but it's always best to hear from the students. Because even if we were to quote it differently for you, the students will always tell you like it is. And so we heard from our guild president. Now we'll be hearing from two of our students, and Miss Simone Williams, who serves as the Student Service and Development Manager for Irving Hall, and also as our campus-wide coordinator for the first year experience program, is well positioned to moderate this brief panel discussion, because the first year experience program is a program that every single first year at the university needs to get involved in, because it will help you to successfully transition and to navigate the university here in your first year. But to tell us more about this and lots more, we have Ms. Williams, who will now lead us after she introduces us to her panelists into this discussion about transitioning here at Mona. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mackenzie. Before I begin, I must acknowledge our Deputy Principal, Professor Ian Boxhill, Dr. Ricketts, the Dean of Faculty of Social Sciences, Ms. Omalora Wilson, our Guild President, and our bursar, Mrs. Thwaites, and my colleagues, and all parents and students, spouses, and other family members. It's really good to see you. And we hope to have a little conversation with you. It won't last more than 15 minutes. We know that you're really excited about having your students here. There's a lot of anticipation. But in the mix of that, there may be a little anxiety, a little fear, a little uncertainty, and a little worry. So we have our two students with us who will try to talk to you a little bit about what their experience was. So I'm Simone Williams. As you heard, I work mostly with first-year students and with students in Irving Hall. And I will ask the students to introduce themselves to you and just to tell you a little bit about them, where they're from, what they studied, and where they are now.
Okay, hi, good morning. My name is Shayan Dalab. I am a finalizing social work student from the Faculty of the Social Sciences, and I'm also an urbanite, so I'm very familiar with Miss Williams. My experience at UWI, I believe it's very unique. I was here prior to COVID, during COVID, I know some persons say after COVID, but we'll get into that later. Just wanted to a simple introduction and I'll pass over to my partner for the morning.
Good morning, everyone. So I'll try to be as short as my colleague. My name is Cindy N. Andrews. I'm a clinical psychologist in training, which means I'm pursuing my master's in clinical psychology, so also a member of one of the best faculties, social sciences, FSS Alliance, yes. So it is an honor to be here with you this morning. I think being a part of the University of the West Indies, I almost said excellent, because that is where you are. You are at the home of excellence. And as a new Pelican, I want to take time to welcome you because I am truly proud to be UWI. The University of the West Indies has had 4 years of my life so far, and I think it was extremely important for me to ground my theoretical and practical understanding of psychology in the Caribbean. It's important for us to understand how essential it is to be a part of the University of the West Indies, because not only do we get to learn, we get to apply our understanding to meet the needs of our society. So welcome parents, welcome students, and let's get into today's conversation.
So, just in case you were feeling a little jealous that we only had social sciences student, I was a science and technology student and a humanities and education student, and Mr. Mackenzie was a science and technology student. So give yourself a round of applause. All right, so let's get into the conversation. Cheyenne and Cindy, can you tell us, describe for us what it was like coming into UWI in your first year?
So the University of the West Indies was always my first choice. But I did not think I would begin immediately after completing my CAPE exams due to financial challenges. So I began working as a research assistant. I'm actually from Trinidad and Tobago. So I would have worked as a research assistant at the Ministry of Health, our version of it, in Tobago, and I would have gotten accepted. Now initially, I wanted to do law because I had a lot of experience in Parliament, being a national parliamentarian in the U Division. I'm just loving to engage and wanting to be more interested in policy. However, I got accepted for my second choice, psychology special, and I think that was one of the best decisions I made, stopping everything. So I got my acceptance letter the 30th of August, and I had to leave Trinidad because I did my undergraduate at UASD. So I stopped everything. I was like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to finance this? And I was just like, everything will work out. Now, sometimes you need to have a plan, and thankfully, I'm very organized, so I always have several different ways of how things are going to work out. So I am a proud UWI Open Scholar recipient. I would have received a bursary because of my involvement not only in academics, but because I served on the Guild of Students. I was actually Deputy Social Sciences Representative. I was also the Secretary and Vice President at the University of the West Indies. I've done a lot, and because of my experience at the University of the West Indies, I am able to contribute not only to my personal development, but the development of others. So it's been a very interesting experience. The University of the West Indies makes you resilient, because you don't only learn in the classroom or in the Zoom class. You get to develop your practical, soft, and technical skills as a member of the Pelican team. They push you, they challenge you to be the best you. I think excellence does not even begin to capture how much is required of you because you have to give. But I'll hand over to Shai.
Thank you. My transition into the university, it was Are you hearing me better now? Okay, great. My transition was a bit rocky, but it was also very smooth. I was eager to leave high school. I just wanted to get out of there. I wanted to come to UWI. I never considered leaving Jamaica. That's one thing about me. At no point did I ever say, oh, I'm going to go to Canada, I'm going to go to the US, I'm going to go to China. No, thank you. I want to stay in Jamaica. When I initially applied for the UWI, I actually applied for a psychology program, and someone told me about social work. And I'm just like, okay, what is even social work? And they really
got into it about how practical the degree program is, how useful social workers are in Jamaica. My thing when I explain social work to anyone, if they're people, social workers have a purpose. That's what we do. We work with people. We make whatever situation you are in better. We help you to help yourself. And the process was a bit weird to me because I'm here applying for the UWI and I'm told, hey, you have to do an interview. First of all, I'm a country girl. I come from St. Elizabeth, not familiar with Kingston, and all of a sudden, you have to come to UWI, you need to do an interview, put on your uniform. I'm a Hamptonian, so for me, that means you come in here, you wash your tie, you put on all the 100 million pins, you clean your shoes, and you said, yes, best foot forward. And I came to UWI, I was there for my interview, because I did not know where I was going. But the thing is, you step onto the campus and you're immediately welcomed into a family. You see security guards, they're your best friends. They know everywhere, so you see them when you feel intimidated. No, that is your best friend. You go to him, you go to her, and you say, hey, I'm looking for the SOSI building, I'm looking for Mensa, I'm looking for the library, and trust me, they'll get you where you want to go. And to the 10 security guards that I had to ask questions that day, I respect them because guess what, I was late, but I showed up and I did my interview and I was accepted into the program and I have never looked back. The thing about UWI is that you come here and you hear, hey, you're going to read for your degree. It's not just about reading for your degree. We have very practical programs here available to students. So it's not just, oh, I do med, so I'm going to go on my clinical rotations. There are great programs that are available in all the faculties across the campus that will provide you with the experience that you need going into the working world. I'm a finalizing social work student and I have 3 years of working experience. So persons who say, oh, I'm done with university, can't get no job because nobody wants to hire me without working experience. You come to UWI, you read for your degree, and you get your working experience. It's possible. Because I'm leaving UWI right now and I have 3 years of working experience. So nobody can come to me and say, okay, yes, you have your degree, you have your honors, but what can you practically do? So UWI does have these programs. Some of them are a part of whatever degree you're studying for, and some of them just require you as new students to take that initiative and that step to look forward to your future and say, hey, I'm going to go to my department representative. Your deans are very accessible. The faculty offices are open to you. Say to them, my name is XYZ, this is my ID number, and I would like to know what opportunities are available to me.
Thank you, Shine. Okay, so here we have 2 students with 2 very different experiences, 2 different maturity level coming into UWI at the same time. One was rocky, one was a little smoother, but you heard the different transitions. I want to ask them now, what was it about themselves that helped their transition? Was there any trait or any personality type that they had that helped to make their transition smoother? And we want this to be a quick answer.
I think for me, it'd be my organization skills. I try my best to always have a plan and develop a routine because it helps me to see things clearly. In the event that something doesn't work out, I'm very solution oriented. Yes, I understand that a problem has happened, but what can I do that will help me to overcome? I consider myself extremely resilient, and my capacity for coping is also one that I have developed over the years. So how can I help myself manage my feelings of overwhelm or feeling anxious? Because that tends to happen when you have finals, when you have midterms. When you have so many assignments, you're wondering if your lecturers are coordinating a Hunger Games trial run for you. As a deputy principal would have highlighted. But being able to have a plan, what task am I going to tackle first, what needs my immediate attention, helps you to work through those feelings, especially when procrastination happens.
I definitely have to echo her this morning. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. I learned that in high school, but things will happen. So you come here, you become organized. You're in your first year, get familiar with your I do know, but first of all, being organized is going to get you through UWI. Being resilient and being very solution-oriented, it will get you through UWI. There's always someone who can answer whatever question you have and can help you to fix whatever problem you've encountered. So trust me, there's always somebody here to help. Be organized, prepare as much as possible, and eventually you'll get over the procrastination.
Okay, so these two ladies sound like they have their acts all together, but let's find out, were there any hiccups or any point in time when your transition was threatened?
So my story is more of a physical one. When I started the UWI, I lived on Urban Hall, still do, and I decided I was going to play football. Never played football before, but I represented my hall, it's orientation time and everything, and unfortunately I fractured my ankle. So school is starting, registered for classes and everything. I missed the faculty orientation. I don't know where my faculty is. I don't know where my classes are, and sometimes your classes will be held outside of your faculty. And I'm just like, what am I going to do? I don't know where I'm going, and I have classes. And trust me, those first 3 weeks of school are very important. You see crits, you're going to buck up in crits, and you're going to learn a very big lesson in life. Just wait on it. And I remember reaching out to Miss Williams, and she actually provided me with a driver, and he was able to come by the hall. He picked me up whenever I had classes, dropped me to classes, and we worked together, and it worked. But through navigating all of that, I missed 2 weeks of crit classes, and trust me, those 2 weeks really set me back, because they said, oh, school just started, they just meant to talk and it's not introduce yourself. No. You come here to learn, you're going to learn in that first class, trust me. And that was my major hiccup starting, because all the important things that I needed to learn, that I needed to become familiar with, I missed out on them. But as I said, it is a family, and my family literally brought me back up on my 2 feet, and I got through it.
Great, so quickly, Cindy, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes. So, the Hall has this beautiful motto, know thyself. And I know that I love being involved. I love volunteering. So, during my tenure, I served in numerous capacities. I'm actually the Deputy Character Youth Ambassador for Trinidad and Tobago. So, there was a lot happening. In addition to managing the pandemic and transitioning to online school, that felt a bit overwhelming. Now, because I always want to give 100%, there were points in this semester where I was overwhelmed because I had online meetings happening, when I would have classes happening, and it was very important for me to stop and say, I need to develop a system that has balance as a priority. Because I cannot be my best if I let my academics suffer because of how much I want to give back. So while it's important that you commit yourself to your academics and you get good grades, being an all-rounded student helps you to achieve so much more. I was able to successfully be one of the recipients of the UWI Open Scholarship because of my involvement. I was able to obtain bursaries to help me with my financial challenges because of my involvement. But all of those things were possible because I supported my academic journey by saying, no, I can't attend this meeting. No, I can't volunteer at this time. Being comfortable saying no, even if you want to, helps you to also commit to your dream of being that social worker, being that medical student, being that researcher, being that statistician, because you know how to prioritize.
All right, thank you, ladies. So we're going to wrap up now, but I want to ask a question for you, the parents. What kind of support did you get from your family that was most helpful to you?
So my grandmother would always complain that I did not call her enough. So when I went back home, she still didn't see me enough because I was always in my room studying. But it was important for me to know that even though she did not understand, or my dad did not understand, most of the things that I was studying, because it kind of conflicts with their cultural background, that they would still show up. They would still ask, how am I doing? Because when you come into the tertiary system, most of your educational milestones are based on your contributions. You have to make sure that you submit your assignments. You have to make sure that you eat and you take care of yourself. So being able to know that someone was there supporting me, even though they did not directly understand, because I am a first generation university student. None of my parents attended university. My grandmother didn't. Some of my cousins did, but in my household, this was something new. My grandmother didn't understand that being online all day was school. She just thought I was online and going to sleep late. So being able to have that relationship where I can communicate, this is what school looks like now, and I need you to understand that I'm not being lazy because I didn't wake up 6 o'clock in the morning to sweep the yard when I was home. I just went to sleep at 5 to submit an assignment was important. And through communication, they developed that support system where she now knows, okay, she's not being lazy, she don't like to sleep late, she just did something that is important to her.
Great.
The support and the communication is going to be very important. Support doesn't have to mean a video call or a phone call. It could be a text message. And when you send your child, your ward, your cousin, whoever it is that text message, you can't always depend on them to respond right away. Trust me. There are going to be days where you're, as I said, student, daughter, son, whoever, where they're going to sit and watch the sunrise because they're studying. And sometimes it's not even a case of, oh, I'm cramming because my exam is tomorrow morning. It's just the amount of work that is needed to really accomplish whatever goals we have set for ourselves. Because you need to come here and you need to establish a balance. You need to be involved, you need to build your social connections, but you also need to get that degree. So communication is very important. Checking on us. Let us know that we're there, ensure that we're eating, ensure that we have money because we need it, and just be there for us. But it's also important not to micromanage. When you come here, we're concerned adults. So if you see a child doing something that you know they should be doing, sometimes you have to let them fall on their face. You have to let them learn certain life lessons for themselves. You can't always build them out, because guess what? When they're awarded that degree and when they get into the working world, you can't be there beside them. You can't wait up and say, hey, you have work at 8 o'clock or 8:30. Make sure you buy lunch. Remember that lunch is only 30 minutes or 1 hour. Your boss will get upset if you come back late. No, these are things that we have to learn by ourselves. So yes, please check in on us, call us, video call us, send us the money, send us the groceries. We appreciate it, but try not to micromanage, because we're here to be adults and there's certain life lessons that need to be learned independently.
Thank you. Good, thanks. Thank you for that contribution, ladies. As you know, every single student is different because it depends on the characteristic of the individuals. It depends on the context. Some students, as you heard from Cindy, have no family experience with universities. Others have generations that have attended universities. It depends also on the resources, the human resource, the financial resource, and it also depends on the social system. As you've heard from our students, there's never a time that they don't need the support of their parents. Research shows, science shows, and common sense shows that the student who persists in university, the student who is most likely to succeed, is the student who has the support of the family. So whether it be a text, whether it be a call, a reminder of who they are, prayers, sending food, your children need you. So we hope that you will find it within you to support them. I don't know if we have time for questions, Mr. McKenzie. If there are any questions for the panelists, we could take them. Is there anybody with any questions? Okay, I see a question. Can we get a microphone to this parent in the audience?
Sir, Ms. Mahas, to step to that microphone in the aisle and ask a question. This aisle right here, there's a corner microphone. You can come up this way, please. And we'll take one more question from the segment, and then we will proceed for accordingly. So we can accommodate just one more question from this segment.
appreciate all hearing the experiences of the young ladies, but I was a bit disappointed in not having a male to share his experience.
So let me take that one quickly. There was a male participant, but circumstances are not control did not allow him to be here this morning. Because we always practice balance, diversity. So thank you for your observation and your comment. But it was just circumstances that are not control why I not seen a male today. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And thanks to Cheyenne and Cindy, our panelists. Enjoy the rest of your day with us at UWI. Okay, so take care. Thank you, Cheyenne. Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you so kindly, Ms. Williams and your panelists, the Angels and the Cheyenne. Well, another round of applause. We will now have an item of entertainment from one of our students. I invite to the lecturer, Ms. Danielle Thomas. Danielle is a student.
I'm looking for Rashid, huh?
I was going to say thank you again for having me. I'm actually going to tutor. This is like
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Marketing and communication.
Hi, I'm looking for Mrs. Roper Robinson. How are you? This is Tony. I'm good.
I'm Tony.
Who's this handsome person behind the mask? I can't see the makeup.
That's what I'm
Do you still have the mic?
I need 2 minutes at a time.
Yes, but let me just find Rashid.
This morning and everything is
Oh, why should watches over you, just like he does for me.
I feel like preaching up in here. Somebody say hallelujah. Amen. So you see, you did not miss Sunday morning worship. You know, in other places you'd have to pay big money for that. But the fact of the matter is that here at the UWI, our quest is to produce the holistic student. And we have a range of opportunities available to our students to grow beyond the classroom experience. And so right across from here, there's a Philip Sherlock Center for the Creative Arts. There's dancing and drama, and there's university singers and the university chorale. And she's from a Hall of Presidents, that's Elsa Leorini Hall. And they have their, they have the creative arts group within that space, and both, you know, for our commuting students and our students in residence, there are a range of opportunities in clubs and societies. Here on campus, we have over 100 clubs and societies that our students are involved in different areas, the areas of your choice. And if you come to the UWI and there isn't a club or society fitting your liking, you can start a club or society once you meet certain criteria that we set. And this is just the amazing place that is the Mona campus. And so opportunities abound inside the classroom and outside the classroom. We're going to trek over now to the classroom, where it's our distinct pleasure to have with us the Dean Designate for the Faculty of Social Sciences, Dr. Heather Ricketts. Dr. Ricketts will share with us regarding academic matters. After her presentation, we'll facilitate 10 minutes of question and answers. Please make her welcome.
Mr. Chairman, good morning. Mr. Chairman, Deputy Principal, Bursar, Guild President, members of the senior management of the UWI Mona campus, parents, husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, students, good morning, and a very pleasant welcome to the UWI and the UWI Mona family. I just want to say, before I even begin talking about academic matters, how my heart feels very warm this morning just hearing from the presentations by the Guild President, the other students who spoke about their transitions, the student who entertained you, and also I just want to share how warm my heart is just given the wonderful performances by the Jamaicans and the rest of the Caribbean at the World Championships. You know, I want to make a boast. I come from a small island called Grenada. We sent 3 participants, 1 gold, 1 silver, and we hope we get a bronze. Big up Grenada. So let me start again. I welcome all of you, and I want to congratulate all of you who are sitting here, family members and students, for your resilience really over the last 2.5 years of COVID to be able to get your student here today, especially those who recently matriculated. For those of you who have had your CAPE subjects or your other experiences and would have matriculated some time ago and are just coming, welcome, very, very special welcome to you. I trust that your experience over the next 3 years or more will be very rewarding and memorable. So let's see how much I can tell you about UWI. So let's get to understand the academic side of UWI. As I think our guild president indicated, there are 7 faculties of engineering, humanities and education, law, medical sciences, science and technology, and the social sciences and sport. I come from the Faculty of Social Sciences. There's also the Institute of Gender and Development Studies. It's an institute, but in a way also a faculty. So there are 7 faculties and the institute, and I'm sure that all of you sitting here might be representative of each of these departments, or faculties, or the institute. Parents, I want to say, like I think Ms. Wilson said, that the communication that UWI will have with you will be with your student, not with you. And so some of you, I have sat for the last 2 years as Deputy Dean in the Faculty of Social Sciences, and I have been in charge of all undergraduate student matters. And sometimes, you know, the front desk would say to me, Dr. Ricketts, there is a parent out there to see you. And the parent, but you know, Dr. Ricketts, we are not supposed to be communicating with parents. And I go out, but I welcome the parent in, and I have to say to the parent, unless you got permission from your student for me to share any information with you, I can't. And some leave quite, quite disappointed, but others understand. So parents, I just want to say to you, the University of the West Indies is treating your student like an adult. It's the student who has matriculated, the student who is our client, so to speak, and so we will be communicating with your student. In terms of enrollment status, I'm not sure how many of you are enrolling as full-time students. Let's see if you are full-time. Any of you? Full-time. Anybody enrolling as part-time? Okay, 1 or 2 part-time students. So part-time students will not carry as heavy a load as full-time students. And in most faculties, a full-time student carries at least 5 courses in a semester, and for part-time students, they carry 3 courses per semester. Now, most part-time students are working students. I know we have a lot of full-time students who are also full-time at work, but many of the part-timers are working, and so they carry quite a heavy load, balancing both university life and work life. Regarding the structure and the delivery of courses, so as I said, if you are full-time, you have 5 courses more than likely per semester. If you are part-time, you have about 3 courses per semester. So how your courses are delivered will be through lectures, tutorials, labs, internships or practicum experiences. You heard the social work student speak of this, the psychology student as well, but also in science and technology and in the medical sciences. There are lots of labs and clinical rotation. So clinical experiences are very much a part of the training as well. In the social sciences and in the humanities, things like field trips and field work are also part of the delivery of a course. Now, the semester system that we use can be quite brutal, and I want to just say this up front. The semester system, each semester is 13 weeks. So from the time you start in September, all the way down to the end of November, you will be in classes, and then you will begin your final exams for that semester in December. Now, the semester, round about the 5th to the 6th week of teaching, you begin with mid-semester exams. And even before that, you might be placed in a tutorial where you have to start presenting in front of your peers in a much smaller group. So what a tutorial is a much smaller group. So the lecture or the course is broken up into much smaller groups led by a tutor. And in that way, you can ask questions, you can get to know the tutor more intimately, and you can, try and get questions that you perhaps didn't quite understand from the lecture understood. So the semester system gets off quickly, and the work can start piling up if you don't get your act together quite quickly. So please remember, there'll be mid-semester exams, there'll be coursework, there'll be tutorial presentations, there may be quizzes, and of course there will be final exams starting in December. And then for second semester, which runs from about the 3rd week of January to the 3rd week of April, you will have exams beginning round about the beginning of May or the very, very end of April of next year. Now, the performance on these assignments and in these courses, your performance generates a grade, and that grade contributes to your GPA. So for those of you who don't know what the GPA is, it's the grade point average. It really is a cumulative score that tells us how well you are doing in your program, and it allows many of us who lecture to know how perhaps or whether you will need more hand-holding or even academic advice so that we can be able to help you to do better if you're not doing so very well. And that GPA, over time, as it builds, it ends up declaring the quality or the class of your degree. So you will hear people get first-class honors, and that's if they have a GPA score of 3.6 and above. Or you might have an upper second-class honors. Your GPA would be about 3.0 to 3.59. And then for those who are a lower second, the GPA would be 2.5 to 2.99. And below 2.5, the GPA would then be a pass degree. I want to say that in every semester, as we look at your performance, if the student's GPA falls below 2.0 is the minimum GPA to be able to graduate and be awarded your degree. So if at the end, so you're starting now in September, if at the end of December your GPA falls below 2, you will be sent a warning letter by the university. It will say, student, your GPA has fallen below 2, and so you need to give some attention to your performance going forward. If in the second semester, so the next semester, the GPA continues to be low, below 2, you will get what is called a requirement to withdraw. So when you hear people talk about the RTW, it means requirement to withdraw. And so what the university is saying, student, perhaps you need to sit out for a year, and you can then organize and come back. If students get a requirement to withdraw and sit out for the year, many times they come back in stronger, more mature, more organized. And so they can ask, they can come back in having sat out for the year, and they can qualify for something we call academic forgiveness. What academic forgiveness does is to, in other words, generate a clean slate for you. So you come back in fresh and brand new to start again. And in some instances, you can carry over courses from the previous registration to your new record. So students, please remember, as I said, the semester can get off very quickly. You can be overwhelmed with a lot of assignments, and you will need to settle down very early. Now, if you have a good GPA, many scholarships and other opportunities will abound. So a good GPA is always something to aspire to so that you can win scholarships or bursaries, as the case might be. You might even land on the dean's list, and you will enjoy faculty awards. As I had said, the academic year is organized into 2 semesters, and in some faculties, there is actually a 3rd semester. So some faculties, some programs will have 3 semesters. For us in the social sciences and in other faculties, there is something called summer school, which runs from about the very beginning of June into August. Well, the end of July into early August, or I should say more end of July. And that's really optional. So in my faculty, for example, social sciences, our academic year is really 2 semesters, and we have an optional summer school, which is run in the summer. I think one of the students who spoke in terms of transition spoke about this course called CRIT, C-R-I-T. Critical Reading and Writing, either in the social sciences or in the pure and applied sciences or in the medical sciences or in the disciplines. That course is absolutely important. A lot of us who think we know English and we got a 1 in CAPE and we got whatever, and a 1 in CSEC and so on, can fail that course miserably. And I have sat as deputy dean and I've seen where that course, FOUN 1013 or FOUN 1019, is the one course preventing a student from graduating. I'm saying to all of you, it is absolutely critical to give CRIT all of your attention. Don't feel that, oh, I know how to write already. I get a 1 in this and I have a 1 in that and so on. The course is really very important. And what I've noticed is that for students who perform very poorly in terms of writing, their GPA, it shows up in the GPA because they don't generally do well on the subjects, especially the writing subjects, because the ability to express self and to think critically and to be more analytical and deep in your approach to the discipline, that is quite limited. So folks, CRIT is very important. And parents, husbands, wives, family members, I will say to you, every now and again when you're checking in with your student, just ask them, how is CRIT going? Just ask that question. How is it going? How is CRIT going? Now, beyond today, you will attend something called faculty orientation. That is absolutely critical, and your attendance as students is absolutely important. So your parents don't have to be with you for this. When you hear when your faculty's orientation is, you make your way to the location and you sit up. Many of you, you have your phones now. You don't need to walk with a notebook. You take a picture if there is something on the screen, or you make your little notes in the notes app on your phones. But it's really critical that you attend your faculty's orientation, because it is there that you will get academic advising and academic counseling. I remember about 7 years ago, I had the pleasure of sitting as an academic advisor in one of our rooms, and in walked this young lady who was a part-time student. She was part-time because she couldn't afford the full-time fee. And this young lady, I was absolutely blown away. I was impressed because she had read the handbook already. She knew the program regulations. She knew the university's regulations. The question she asked, it was very clear that she had read up front. And then lo and behold, as fate would have it, I ended up being her tutor for one of her courses, blowing away the class. And then it was our pleasure to declare her first class at the end of her journey here. So it showed how, you know, she was definitely one who was prepared and organized, and you just saw it all the way through. So my having said that, I want to just say, you see that thing called the student handbook? The undergraduate student handbook? We don't print copies anymore. You have to go online, go to your faculty, and you download your handbook. Do not listen to uncle who was here 10 years ago, your sister who was here last year, or the cousin who was here 5 years ago. You look for your handbook. It will be the 2022-2023 handbook. That's your handbook. Not this year's handbook, which is 2021-22. Your handbook will be 2022-2023, because sometimes programs change. Course content changes. The number of credits for a program, either it would increase. Sometimes that happens. Social work, for example, is a 99 credit program. Years ago, it was a 90 credit program. So if you think it's 90 credits and you think you're graduating, you're going to have to be told by somebody like me that you're missing 3 fundamental courses. So go to your faculty's website, download your handbook, put it on your phone. In my faculty, we have a nice checklist. So when you go to student resources and you download your handbook, you will also see something called credit checklist. So you could download that. And as you take your courses, you just tick off. And you know at the end of the 3 years, or at the end of 4 years, or at the end of 5 years, you can graduate. Now, university is more of a level playing field, I want to tell you. Some of you are coming here with very good CAPE results. I've seen everything. I've seen ones that would blow your mind, and the ones end up failing. I've seen those who come with mediocre results, and they leave here with first-class honors. So, there is something called a library. That's the leveler, you know. Some people who have mediocre results is because perhaps they never got all of the extra lessons, they didn't have all of the books, etc. Once you have all the books in the library, there is no stopping you. And all of you are exposed to the same lecturers and the same tutors. No stopping. So if you feel today that your results are mediocre and you're not so sure and so on, cut that out right now. You can walk away from here blowing everybody's mind. So make sure that you take, yourself in hand. Be very self-directed about what you are doing. This is not high school. Nobody's going to say, but how we don't see John today, and call up John find out if John is on Irving Hall or on Chancellor or wherever. Nobody's going to do that, except John's peers perhaps. Yeah? So please remember that you need to take charge of yourselves. So the regulations are very important. As I said, the handbook is very important. You have to know your program regulations and the general regulations. Students, there are many opportunities and experiences that abound at UWI. There are exchanges that you can go on. There are study abroad opportunities. Some of you can say, okay, I want to spend a semester at St. Augustine. I want to spend a semester at Cave Hill. Or I want to go on this student exchange program to Sweden, Gothenburg in Sweden, etc. And again, your GPA is going to be important for that kind of consideration. Many friendships and relationships blossom on campus. Some of us, this is where we met our husbands and our wives. So some of that is going to go on. I am one of them. Yeah? I met my husband many years ago on the St. Augustine campus. And this is why I live in Jamaica. Yeah? and many friends you're going to make. So my St. Lucian girlfriend is my son's godmother. These things will happen. Wonderful friendships. People from rural and urban and foreign and so on are going to link up with each other, and especially on Hall, which has a really very rich life, you will make a lot of friends. So get involved, make friends, and do things for good. Lots of clubs and societies and co-curricular activities, etc. I want to come to the realities, parents, especially. First year may be a stumble for some of your students. They mightn't get it so right, first year. I always say to myself, if I were someone who had to go through the semester system, I don't know how I would have managed, because I felt I was more of a year-long kind of performer, where it took me time for things to simmer, you know, and then you got the hang of it. Because when I was a student at UWI in the 1980s, the courses were year-long. You started at the end of September, and you went all the way to June with the same subject. That doesn't happen under the semester system. And so year one might be a bit of a stumble. So you have to handhold your child. And when I say handhold, I don't mean that you're hovering like a helicopter. You have to let go, but you have to know when they need help. Some people may stumble because of illness, I've seen it, because of family, breakdown in the family, because of work pressure, financial challenges, failures, and I want to say that failures are not always a setback. The failure could be the best thing that could ever happen to you, because you realize that that is just not your area, and you found your area, right? And I told you what failures, if you fail in a semester, what that means, and so on and so forth. Some of you will transfer. Some of you thought that you like law, and you started law, and then all of a sudden you say, no, I really want to do IR, international relations, or I really want to do media and communication. Or some of you might want to do medicine. You didn't get into medicine, but you got into, let's say, marine biology. And all of a sudden, you love there. Or you might want to start in engineering, and then you realize, boy, engineering, not cutting it. Maybe it's economics. Or you may have started in sociology, and then you realize, I don't like sociology. I think I want to do literatures in English. And as I say that, I want to say to some of us parents, you need to break down some of these stereotypes that you have. I had a young man sit in my office, and he really is a wordsmith. He's a wordsmith. He's like a poet, right? But the kind of support from the family, just not there. Because he's a boy, a male, and what is this thing called literatures in English? Oh, history. Some of us feel that, you know, if it's a boy, he should be doing a particular set of subjects or courses or programs and so forth. Well, this world, happily the 21st century, and with social media, has just leveled the playing field. Creatives and everybody is just finding their way and doing quite well in their particular disciplines. So, I'm just going to ask parents to be very supportive, all right? Not everybody will know immediately what they want to study, and so you have to be patient and understanding and provide the support. Some of you, because of the last 2 years of online, you have flourished in that environment, and we are coming back now to face-to-face. So, you know, some of you who are coming back to face-to-face, you're going to probably have to have a mindset reset so that you can get back on board and you can flourish even in the face-to-face environment. And last thing, for very special mention, pay attention, parents, to your students, family members, to your wife or your husband or your partner, you know, pay attention to their mental health. The next pandemic, or I should say the accompanying pandemic to COVID, has been the mental health pandemic. And a lot of students, a lot of us people have struggled, and some of us are still struggling. I want to say that we have a health center that has a counseling program called UWI Helps. It's a 24/7 activity or operation. It's online, and so if you don't want to appear in person, you can actually chat with a counselor online. So parents, family members, when you're reaching out to your student, especially if your student is away from you, you could just, do your usual, you can sense, you have a sense that something not going so well. And if you sense that, maybe you might want to pay a visit, right? You take a drive up from wherever, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, just to make sure that especially if it's your child, that he or she is doing well. Give support. Family support is very important. And for those of you who have children, so the student now is also a parent. Any of you like that in here? Any students who are parents? Okay, so I don't see one, and I'm sure that there are some online. I'm going to ask your family members, you and your family members, to sit down and reorganize the shared responsibilities at home. You're going to need help. Those of you who are working full-time and studying, you're going to need help. You can't be expected to work, come to class, go home, and take on another set of activities. It's going to be really very difficult. So some of you will need relief from family responsibilities, and you're going to need help with a balancing act. Embrace a growth mindset. Let your child follow his or her passion. It's not you at university, it's the child. And some of us want to live out our missed opportunities through our children. The boy should have done law, the girl should do medicine. And some of you are driving these students crazy. They're suffering from anxiety and depression because they're trying to satisfy you rather than themselves. So again, give them the opportunity and provide support. And parents, especially you, remember that the world is the labor market now. We're not tied to Jamaica, we're not tied to Grenada, we're not tied to Trinidad or Barbados. The world is open. I could stay right here in Jamaica and I'm working in Switzerland or in Germany. Or I may have to travel, leave and actually go wherever to take up a job. So don't think, that it's just here. And very importantly, all of you parents and financiers of your students' education. My experience for the last many years, not just as Deputy Dean, is that when a student is worried about finances and where the fees are going to come from, he or she does not do well. The university has a payment plan. If you can't pay all the fees up front, take advantage of the payment plan. The Office of the Campus Registrar is going to communicate with your student. Make sure they have the letter on their computer. Download it and put it there. You parents, you could even ask for it so that you know by when the fees must be paid. Don't wait for your child to show up in the exam at the door and the poor student hears you're not financially cleared, can't sit the exam. You know how much of that I have seen? Students cry. Or they're running up and down the day before they should be just putting the finishing touches on something that they probably didn't understand. Running up and down trying to finish paying. Please settle the finances. And if you support your student and you provide the safety net that they need, I can tell you that graduation is going to be a very wonderful time. All of you will be here, decked to the nines, going out to dinner and where and family bashments and so on. Yeah? So provide the support and be the student safety net. Once again, heartiest congratulations on joining the UWI Mona family. Best wishes to all of you. Every success. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Ricketts. Excellent, excellent information. And the fact is that if you're not as clear, or if there's something that you need information on that you may not have had, then we are open to take your questions. So let me just remind us that after this period of question and answer, we'll be taking a break. You'll be able to go to the bursary to make your payment. You'll be able to get information from our student administrative services reps on the outside or in the bursary, the cashier area. And we have facilitators that will help you to identify the locations to which you may go. Within this building, we have key partners. So we have Student Work and Travel at the back. Check them out, get the information from them regarding summer work and travel for your child or your ward. We are talking today and will be having this conversation post-lunch about financing higher education. So you learn about scholarships and bursaries, you learn about our payment plans and dates and times and so on. Importantly, we have with us today the Students' Loan Bureau. So how do you finance your higher education? They will have important answers for you around that. We also have other financial institutions that are located right here on the campus. So we are delighted that Scotiabank is with us today, Jamaica National is with us today, Edicom, or credit union on campus, is with us today. So during the break, after the afternoon session, check out the booths, get the information, talk with them, sign up if you need to sign up, go to the bursary, to the cashier to make payments in the vicinity of the Senate building and the Undercroft. We have packages for parents as well. If you want a UWI pen, a t-shirt, or a bumper sticker, just to identify with the campus, we welcome your participation there. So there's a lot that we have in store for you today. But at this moment, we're going to take your questions in relation to what Dr. Ricketts may have shared. We have our deputy principal here with us too, so they may be critical questions that you have of the administration. Our campus bursar stands ready as well to answer questions, but bear in mind that we'll have a financial segment after the break. And so you'll be getting information after which you'll be able to ask questions then and there. Right, so you can make your way to one of the microphones in the aisles, and we will entertain your questions at this point in time. Let me start with the center aisle, and then the aisle to my right, your left.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a privilege to be here, and I must say it because I'm a graduate of the university, and I'm very, very heartened at some of the things I've heard so far. So one of the points that was mentioned earlier was that when I was at university, I came to university in 95 to 98. It's now a different time, and my son is joining now. One of the things that was very, very important to me was establishing what I call support systems, okay, to really achieve academic success and excellence. For me, one of my support systems was the library. The library was absolutely important to my success. And why was that so? That was so because I couldn't afford to buy books, okay? And sometimes we come into this experience thinking that we need to have everything. And the other thing also was this whole matter of transportation. And I know we were talking about academic support before, but there are other things outside of just the academics that help me to be a good student. So for me, I spent a lot of time in the library because I couldn't afford to buy books, right? And that meant being at the library closed. Back then, the library closed at 9 o'clock. I'm happy to hear that the library is 24-hour operation. That's wonderful, that's awesome. So for me, getting home was a real issue, okay? It's a transportation. And at that time, there was a campus bus, I think that went from Papine to, went from campus to Papine, or from campus to Harvard. Now, I'm making 2 points, not sure if you can hear them very clearly, but one is around just how much support can you get through the library for students in terms of books. university, and that's a big challenge for some people. I remember back in the day, they wanted to, be here to avail themselves of the services of the library, but they couldn't stay because they weren't able to get home. And with all the security challenges that we have in Jamaica, that's something that we have to think about. So I want to empower my son to be able to utilize whatever support systems do exist. He's an adult. I'm not going to be a helicopter parent here. So I just want to know what are some of the support systems. And then another thing too is also what, he will be in the Faculty of Arts doing media and communication. What are some of the opportunities for internships as well, so that when he's here as a full-time student, he can also find an opportunity to work and just to, be able to give himself an income if he can. Just wanted to speak to all of those things. Hopefully it's not too many questions. Thanks.
Thank you very much for your comments and also for your questions. So let me start by saying that this orientation is designed intentionally for parents and family members. There is an orientation session for students that will take place the week of August 23. One designed for regional international students and an orientation for all new undergraduate students. And we expect that all our students will be present physically for that orientation session, where we'll share in more details around social support and academic support. Right, so there will be the academic side of the orientation, which will be led by the faculty, the faculties, and the social side of orientation will be delivered by the office that I'm a part of, right? So you learn more about the library, you learn more about academic support unit, you learn more about the health center and the counseling unit, you learn more about our shuttle bus system for transportation that is in place. In fact, if you're studying at the library, right now we have a shuttle bus system that will take you on the hour, every hour until 2 a.m. So the last trip leaves the library at 1 o'clock, taking students into the community where they live. We're not going to take you to Portmore or so on, but to the nearby communities, right? But these are just some of the support systems that are in place. So we continue to support our students in meaningful ways. There are opportunities for internship across all faculties. Importantly, you heard me made mention earlier of Dr. Anne-Marie Williams. She heads our Placement and Career Services office. That's a one-stop shop where you do career guidance, career development. There are opportunities for student jobs and other jobs, for internships, for job shadowing, for a range of career services. So our students, we want for our students to become familiar with that space where they can go get the guidance and support and the help that they need in navigating the space and becoming aware of the range of services available to them as they navigate the campus. Question two.
Right, good afternoon. Two questions. One, my son registered as a full-time and got accepted as part-time. Is that something that can be adjusted? So that's one question. Two, I think it was partly answered, but just want to be sure. I saw a communication which suggested that registration should be done online already in terms of choosing your courses and so on. So is it that the student handbook would have the information as to what courses are required for that major for each semester? And is it that he would be provided with a password to register on the SAS? I'm not sure how he would have registered without other information.
I'm going to allow Dr. Ricketts to attend to the these academic matters. Yeah. I could answer.
So I will answer the question about your son who wanted full-time enrollment and has got part-time. Is he awaiting CAPE results? Yes, so once his CAPE results are the numbers that we are looking for, he more than likely, or not more than likely, he will so the enrollment status will automatically change to full-time. So I suspect he just has perhaps his CSEC and maybe 1 or 2 level Unit 1 CAPE subjects. He has no CAPE. So once he gets his CAPE results, it will change. Yes? Thank you. With respect to the other question about registration, so parents and students who are here, yes, registration has opened, but we would much, much prefer if you wait until you have your faculty orientation and your academic advising. That way you will get specific information. I know from my faculty, for example, of social sciences, our handbook, we are still working through the minor corrections to the handbook. So the 2022-23 handbook has not fully been finalized in my faculty. So I would say to allow your students, they can still look at last year's or this year, the 21-22 handbook, and have an idea of what the courses would be. But wait until the faculty orientation and the academic advising. Thank you.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Hello, can you hear me?
We're hearing you clearly. Go ahead.
Fabulous, good. Right, so I'm very happy that when Dr. Ricketts spoke, that even though it was a presentation on the academics, that she did in fact mention some of the social issues that we would have to attend to. And we talk about what parents need to do in terms of supporting their kids. And everybody in here knows that you never stop being a parent. Everybody on the platform, you still have parents. It doesn't end. So we don't hover, but you're still a parent. So what I want to understand from you is, you talk about the responsibility of various folks in the students' family. What about the responsibility of students towards each other? We live in a society that we're trying to make better every day. We all know about the crime and violence in Jamaica. How do we encourage our students to help each other? I know it's something that we don't typically look on. You either have your friend or you don't have your friend, or you go look some friend. But how can we just everyday kindnesses help each other as students? And I think parents will be happy to hear about that, because we all know you never stop being a parent, just your role transitions. Thank you.
Thank you. As I said earlier, that the focus here today is really on the parents and so on, right? But at the UWI, we are a community. We have core values of excellence, for example, of student-centeredness. And a part of the process is really just helping our students to understand the expectations within the university community, how we support each other. You live in a hall of residence, what communal living is like, those matters of respect as you speak about. And so we do this with our students inside the classroom and outside the classroom. So there are a range of learning opportunities, mentorship programs, leadership programs, community outreach. For us, learning happens. Yeah. Learning for us happens everywhere, inside the classroom and outside the classroom. So through our range of qualitative programs, we seek to engender a particular kind of UWI student. Our commitment is to deliver what we call a distinctive UWI graduate. A graduate with certain qualities and characteristics. And in an effort to do that, we design and deliver intentional programs to meet that end. So yes, we do that. We'll talk in depth around this when we talk with the students at their orientation. Omaloro, you want to share a thought here or two?
Thank you, Mr. Mackenzie. Parents, I can speak as a student to let you know that the student population here at the university helps students more than anything else. And so no matter what it is, whether it's schoolwork, whether it's just your life, I guarantee you that your child will have support, whether it's from the hall or the faculty. As a matter of fact, we have this saying here at UWI that, and to break it down for you, on a 1 degree a giveaway. And so we ensure that whatever we can do to help my peer, I'm going to be out there helping my peer. We also have the Guild Council out here who does phenomenal work when it comes on to assisting students, to ensure that students hold themselves accountable, to ensure that we are here supporting each other, to ensure that we respect the space no matter who you are, what you align with, who you are as a person, how do you express yourself. We allow that. That much I can guarantee you. So when it comes on to schoolwork per se, that's the reason for classes. I guarantee you, if you find a student here who says to you that I've gone through my 3 to 5 years here at the university without assistance, that is not a student at the University of the West Indies. But the true Pelican knows that whatever you're doing, regardless of what course you're doing, you're going to have a 1 or 2 person who will say to you, all right, let's form a study group. Let's go to the library. Let's go do it on the lawn. Let's do it right at Assembly Hall. And then you have your hall mates, which that culture, I know Towers is here. Towers, make some noise. And I know Chancellor is here, AZ Preston, Mary Seacole Hall. We have a lot of halls who are here, but that family that they create on that hall, whoever it is that live next door to you, whoever lives on your block, I guarantee your child will not go through this alone. So the faculty rep is there to help them with registration. Your hall rep is here to help. Your hall chair and deputy hall chair is here to help you. And just a typical Pelican to ensure that your time here at the university is one worth the while. I can guarantee you that.
Thank you, Madam President. So I'm only going to take the 3 persons stand. Well, a 4th now is in the aisle because we have to cut to break. But I say to all the parents here, just remember this: first year experience program, for short, FYE. This is the best support system that you'll have for your student here on campus. Just remember that name, FYE, the first year experience program. The questions in the center aisle.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. You're hearing me fine? All right, so I know that this is parents and family orientation. I'm actually an incoming first-year student. And for some reason, all my official UWI correspondence actually goes to my parent. So in keeping with the overarching theme of taking control of the university experience, who do I need to contact or email or call so that I can change the contact information to me, the student, in terms of all official UWI correspondence from here on out?
Thank you very much for that. So you can talk with me directly after, and we'll connect you with the admissions people who will help you in that regard, right?
Okay, thank
so
you.
Once, I think we'll be operating on the information that's on your application form, why that is so, but we can have that corrected, and we'll be happy so to do. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Yes. Next question.
Good afternoon, everyone. My son here is the first child to attend UWI, first to experience campus life. So we are not so, fully knowledgeable of how it operates. So I would like some explanation as to how it works. He had applied. He have not received responses yet as to whether he will be able to be on campus or not. So right now I'm not sure as it relates to his accommodations, how it works, and so on. So I'd like some explanation on that. Thank you.
So thank you very much. We just a reminder to all parents that we have our student administrative services persons here. We'll answer lots of your questions around that. There's a desk on the outside, well, on the undercroft, that they are prepared to answer your questions. In relation to the accommodation questions, you may notice on your program, if you don't have a physical program, there's a QR code that you can get the program on your phones from one of our facilitators. At about 1:35, you'll see Meet the Student Service and Development Managers. Those are the persons who are in charge of our halls of residence. So you'll be able to talk to an SSDM parent around about that issue today and to leave here fully satisfied as to where your child will stay because he has requested to live on campus, all right? So you'll get an opportunity to meet your SSDMs today in person and their teams. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so based on the conversation, part-time students would do 3 courses while full-time students do 5, right? And however, you can't change from being a part-time student until after a year of being a part-time student, right? So what I'm asking is, how long does it take for you to do maybe like a request for you to do an additional course, to do 4 courses, so that you could still finish within a year's period of time?
Dr. Ricketts will take that question as we ask you, allow you to ask your question as well.
Okay, good afternoon. I was wondering what specific programs would you recommend for students, specifically first-year incoming students? What programs would you recommend they join if they're looking to work internationally after they complete their tenure at the university?
Okay, so we'll take the question from Dr. Ricketts. What we ask you to do, you're talking about academic programs?
It could be academic, or if you have any others, just any you would suggest would help us in that transition into going international after we complete university.
Okay, so Dr. Williams, will you stand? I want to ask you to make your way to her immediately, okay?
Okay.
So you have a chance to see that.
Yes, sir. So, to transfer from part-time to full-time, one needs to have completed 24 credits, which would be 8 courses. So if you came in as part-time, you would do 3 in the first semester, 3 in the second semester, and perhaps in the summer, you could do 2 courses. Once you are successful with all 8, which would be 24 credits, because most courses at UWI would be 3 credit courses. Then you could apply for transfer to change your enrollment status from part-time to full-time. Yes?
It's not speaking. Okay, it's speaking now. All right, so my question more was like, I understand that you'd have to do these 24 credits, but I'm saying while you're doing these 24 credits, if you could request an override to do additional courses so that by the time you're to do those 3 semesters, you would finish practically what a full-time student year 2 semester would be.
What you are asking, sir, is goes against the regulations. A part-time student cannot do more than 7 courses in an academic year. So a part-time student might be able to do 3 courses in 1 semester and may be able to get 4 courses in the second semester. That would be 7.
So that's what I'm asking.
Yes, but it depends on your performance in the first semester for us to know whether you can take on an additional course or 3 additional credits in the next semester. Anyhow you are doing more than 3 and 4, more than 7, you will be deemed a full-time student and you will be billed accordingly.
Okay, so you're saying then that based off of their performance in the first semester, they can choose to apply for a 4th course in the second semester?
They can, and that would be 1 additional course.
Okay, no
because
problem.
a part-time student can't do more than 7 courses in any academic year.
Okay, and
Yes?
then they can apply for 3 in summer?
2.
Only 2 in summer?
We only consider a 3rd if you are finalizing and have those 3 courses to complete. And again, we have to look at how you performed in the previous semester. So let's say in the previous semester you failed a number of courses, then we will not consider giving you a 3rd course in the summer. All right?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ricketts. I'm afraid we can't take any more questions now. We're way beyond time. I need to give you a break and for you to return promptly at 1 p.m. So hold on, don't move. Because our deputy principal will make a comment to close us out here. Just want to remind us that our facilitators on the outside will direct you to where the eateries are. Juicy Patties is right across from us here. The Social Welfare Training Center canteen is open. They'll guide you there as well as to any other kiosk across the campus that's opened. But during the break, we invite you to go to the bursary section right here to make your payments, to interact with our booth holders, Scotiabank, SWAT, Educom, Jamaica National, and I think that covers our institutions here. So no, the Student Loan Bureau, right? Student Loan Bureau is here. Don't miss out on that opportunity as to how to fund your education, all right? So after we hear from the deputy principal, you'll be on a break, and I ask that you be back here promptly at 1 p.m. when we will begin exploring financial matters. Over to you, DP.
I just wanted to make one very brief intervention. There was a question earlier about payment and financing education. I know you have a session later which will deal with that. But I wanted to make one appeal to parents and those of you who intend to pursue those programs that are self-funding programs. In other words, courses like programs like law, the MBBS program, and there are a number of others. What happens every year, an experience that I have every year, is that there are a number of students who are unable to pay the tuition fees or complete payment of their tuition fees. And they often find themselves making a request to my office to give them a waiver so that they can go on to another year. And oftentimes when I speak with them and I ask them, okay, so you can't pay last year, but you want to go on to another year, so you owe $1 million or $2 million or whatever it may be, but you want to add another $1 million. If you think about it, how can I permit you to do this when it is clear that you are experiencing severe financial difficulties? And very often I hear this response: I was born to do this program. I had a vision that I wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer. Or they would often say, some of them would often say, I will get through by the grace of God. But they forget that in the Bible, there's another part, that it is not just to have faith, but you must have works to back up that faith. So I'm saying to you, to the parents, that if you are having difficulty with paying for a program, you should think carefully about it. Because what you will be doing is adding debt upon debt upon debt. And if you can't make it through the first year, then you're not going to be allowed to proceed to the second year. And you know, all of us have to make these decisions. I have had to withdraw my daughter from a program because she felt that she was born to do this program. And I said, unfortunately, I can't pay for it. So you have to choose another one. But I did it in a way we sat and we spoke about it. So I've had to make decisions like that in my life, where we would want to do a program, but we don't have the resources at the time. So it is nothing wrong with take a year out, or before you enter the program, make sure that you have the resources that will take you through the program. It doesn't make sense to start the first semester or the first year knowing full well that you have no idea how the other years will proceed. If you have an idea, then that's fine. But if you have none, then there's a problem. One last thing I say about this. If you apply to a Canadian, an American, or British university, guess what? You have to send them a statement of your bank account before they even accept you into the program. And they have to be satisfied that you can pay the full tuition costs of the program before they accept you. Here at UE, we take it by faith. Okay, you've applied, we believe that you can pay. So we don't ask for all of these statements, etc. But it still means, it doesn't mean that you should not plan. I say this because I see too many cases, and I see sometimes students who cry. They've spent the first year, and I have to say, I say to them, you can't move on because you owe $2 million or $1 million plus or whatever, and you have not indicated how you can cover it. And this is a good segue for the Student Loan Bureau, because too few of our students access the Student Loan Bureau. And as I said earlier, an education is a lifetime investment. So think carefully before you proceed along many of these self-funding programs. Think carefully about the financing on them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DP. We're now on to our break, and students who are here, please feel free to meet with your guild president and also have a chat with her, ask questions of her. See you back here at 1 p.m. Check out our booths, SWAT, Scotiabank, Educom, SLB, and Jamaica National. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So in this segment, we'll be looking at financial matters. Our first presenter is Ms. Giselle Fraser, who will be talking to us about financial expectations, helping us to understand what is in place for us to pay our fees. And she is a customer service officer operating from the Student Administrative Services section of the bursary. Following her, we'll be talking about scholarships and bursary with a representative from the Office of Student Financing. So I ask of you that you will give Ms. Fraser your undivided attention as she shares critical information with us. So we'll hear from all the presenters on financial matters, after which we will then entertain your questions. So we'll hear from SAS first, then from Office of Student Financing, then briefly from our partners for funding, and then we'll entertain your questions. So over to Ms. Fraser at this point in time, who will share some critical information with us. Put your hands together for Ms. Giselle Fraser.
Good afternoon, everyone. So firstly, I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate all new students on being accepted to the University of the West Indies, Mona. You know that it is the #1 university in the Caribbean, so congratulations. I want to also wish a warm welcome to all family members, that's parents, guardians, and all other family members who are here to support these new students as they make the transition. All right, so as mentioned before, my name is Giselle Fraser, and I'm here representing the bursary department, and more specifically, the Student Administrative Services section and the Billings and Receivables section. Now, before I begin the presentation, I just want to clear up a misconception between the Student Administrative Services section and the Student Administration system. So the Student Administrative Services section, it is a physical location, and we are a part of the bursary department, which deals with financial matters. So anything regarding student accounts, we are the ones that you would speak with. However, there is also a student administration system, and that is an online platform where students would go to register for courses, view their transcripts, and so on. So we are separate and apart from SAS, which is Student Administration System. We are Student Administrative Services section, physical location, a part of the bursary. So now that I've cleared up that matter, let us go right into the presentation. So what do we do at the Billings and Receivables section and the Student Administrative Services section? So what we do is to bill students once it is that students are registered for courses. So after being accepted into their area of study, and they've gone to their faculty orientation and they've assisted them in registering, what happens is that we bill students. Not only do we ensure that the charges for each program is placed on the account, we ensure that it is the correct charge that is placed on the account. So we ensure the correct information is placed on the account. So the second charge that students will see on their account once registered is the miscellaneous charge. And we will go further into that. Another function that we do is to ensure that we apply external payments to students' accounts. And these payments include payments to NCB, to Bill Express, to Jamaica National. We ensure that once payments are made to these locations, that they are updated to the student's account in a timely manner. Another function, another integral function of the Billings and Receivables section / SAS is to bill and collect from external stakeholders. And when we say external stakeholders, we mean like SLB. So once you apply and you're approved for your loan and they send over the information, we ensure that the information is, updated to our system, and that once they make payment, we collect and update the student's account. We collect information, we bill scholarship entities and other donors that may be paying on behalf of students. And once they make payment, we also ensure that that is updated to the student's accounts. All right? So what we will be going into now is the charges that are placed on the student's account. All right, so when a student looks on their account, they will see three main charges. So there may be additional charges that are placed on the account, but there are three main charges that are placed on the account once a student is registered. So the first charge, the first important charge is the tuition charge. This charge is dependent on the program of study and also dependent on registration of courses. So once the student is registered, then the system will bill the student the tuition which is applicable to the program of study. Now the second charge, as I was mentioning earlier, that will be placed on the student account once registered is the miscellaneous charge, and this is a mandatory fee that has to be paid once the student registers with the University of the West Indies. So this fee includes fees such as housing attachment fee, ID fee, and health services fees. So once again, it is mandatory, so you are not able to go around it. Once you register, it will be charged to the account and it must be cleared. A third charge that is placed on the account is the residence charge, and this is dependent on if the student will be residing on hall. And then further to that, it is dependent on which hall the student will be residing on. So there are different charges for the different halls of residence, and once the student is accepted and the information is updated, then the amount will be placed on the student's account. All right. So notice that I did not mention a charge for commitment fee. This is because the commitment fee is a deposit. So once the student is accepted, they are expected to pay a $20,000 commitment fee. And what this fee does is to say to the university that the student will be taking up the offer to come to the university. All right, this fee is non-refundable. So if it is that you go ahead to make payment of this amount and then after that, for some reason, you decide, you're not able to take up the offer at this time, it will remain with us. We are not able to refund the amount. Once you register though, what will happen is that this $20,000 will go towards covering charges on the account like the miscellaneous charge. All right, so how do we find the fees? So to find the fees, it is a simple process. What you would do is to just type in any search engine, check fees UWI, and once you do that and select search, the first option that comes up is what you would select, and it will bring you to this page. So this is the page that will come up once you select the first option after typing in check fees UWI, and here you are able to select the fee sheet that is applicable to you. So if you are in the undergraduate program, then you'd select the first option, and of course, graduate students would select the second option, and you're able to view housing fees and also make payments from here. So you'd select online tuition payments, and you'll be able to make payments. All right, so this is just an example of what one of the fees, so the full-time fees for a regular program, regular sponsored program, is what is displayed here. And you will see on the fee sheet, when you go on the fee sheet, you will see for some of the faculties, you will see sponsored students from contributing country, non-sponsored students from contributing country. And what this does is to just categorize students based on territory, and further to say that if you are from this country, and actually the designations are at the bottom of the fee sheet to show the contributing countries and the non-campus countries as well, so you are able to know which category you fall under and which fees are applicable to you. So here we have the regular fee for programs that fall under humanities of education, science and technology, and social sciences. And we also have the miscellaneous fees outlined here. So for the commuting students, they would pay an amount of $20,667 once they are new students. So this is inclusive of the ID fee of $800. And then we have the residing miscellaneous fees. So that is when you have accepted to live on hall and you are going to live on hall. The miscellaneous charge that you would cover is $28,967. So we've spoken about the fees. When are they due? So it is important to note that fees are due for the academic year, or if you're unable to pay the total amount for the academic year, you're able to pay per semester, and the semester's fee, the first semester's fee, is due on the 2nd of September 2022, and the second semester's fee is due and payable by the 13th of January 2022. Now, 2023. You guys are listening. Thank you very much. So, as I mentioned, you don't have to pay the academic year's fee all at once, right? And how you are able to pay in two is because the academic year for general programs they are divided into two, right? So the academic year's tuition is divided into two. The first half is charged in semester 1, and the second half is charged in semester 2. So once the student is registered for semester 1, and before the deadline of the 2nd of September 2022, they are expected to pay that first half. And then comes semester 2, they are expected to pay for that portion at that time. Of course, the miscellaneous fee must be paid within the first semester. So the deadline of the 2nd of September applies also to the miscellaneous fees. Now, what if you're unable to pay the tuition for the academic year and in full? And you're also unable to cover the fees for the first semester by the deadline. What we have is an installment plan that will allow you to cover these fees by making monthly payments. So we'll go right into that. So the installment plan allows you to first pay 25% of the tuition for that current semester, along with the miscellaneous fee in full. And the student, of course, must ensure that they are fully registered. So all courses must have been selected and approved. If there needs to be any override, that must be done. So once that is done, and they pay 25% of the semester's fee, and when I say the semester's fee, that is speaking to the half of the full tuition that I mentioned earlier, as well as to ensure that they cover the miscellaneous fee. So once that is done, and the portal is open for the installment plan to be applied for, they are able to go online to the bursary online student system, which I will go through a bit later. And they'll be able to request an installment plan, which will allow for the fees to be paid over a period of 3 months. All right? So I see some of you taking pictures. All right, so we don't only provide the installment plan for tuition, we also provide it for the residence fees. So if you're unable to cover the residence fees at the beginning of the semester, you're also able to utilize an installment plan. And similar to the tuition installment plan, you are expected to pay a minimum of 25% of the residence fee for the semester, and ensure, of course, that the miscellaneous fees are covered in full, and that the charge for the hall is present on the account. So if you're accepted to a hall and the charge has not been placed on the account as yet, what we would suggest that you do, or what we would suggest that you recommend your daughter or son to do, is to speak with the hall managers for them to update the system with the information so that it is charged to the account, and that they can go ahead to apply for the plan once they meet the requirements. Now, the start date for the installment plan is the 10th of August 2022 for semester 1. And the deadline to apply for an installment plan is the 16th of September 2022 for semester 1. All right, so, and this plan, it is semesterized. So when you request it in semester 1, and you've cleared all your fees over the period of the 3 months after meeting the requirements, and you sit your exams for semester 1, when it comes time for semester 2 fees to be cleared, you will have to request another installment plan for that semester. Of course, once the information, read the deadlines for that semester's installment plan is available, it will be communicated. All right, so this is basically a breakdown of the payments for the installment plan. So once you pay that first minimum 25% and the miscellaneous fee in full, and you are approved, you request and are approved for the installment plan, you are then required to pay another 25% at the end of September, and then another at the end of October, and then finally in November. And this ensures that you're cleared up in order to sit exams when exams begin in December. All right, so what if you have not utilized the plan and you weren't able to clear your fees by the deadline stipulated? What happens is that if you do not clear your fees and you do not utilize the plan to allow you time to clear the fees, then there are certain penalties that will be meted out to you. So the first penalty that you can expect if you are not cleared up by the deadline, or you're not on an installment plan, is a 1% late fine charge will be added to your account at the end of each month following the deadline until all fees are cleared. So if you're not cleared by the 2nd of September and you have not utilized the installment plan, then at the end of September, there will be a 1% late fine fee. If you have not cleared the balance even after that, then come October, come November, until all fees are cleared, there will be a 1% late fine charge added to your account. What happens when it comes examination time and you still have an outstanding balance? Well, you will not be permitted to access your examinations. So you've gone through the semester, you've, gone to all the lectures, have all the notes, you've studied. However, your balance isn't cleared, you will not be permitted to access the examination room. All right. So you won't be able to access the examinations, but you come in to speak with us and you are able to pay, or it is because of a donor why the fees are not cleared by the deadline, and you're able to provide us with documentation from the donor, and there's some consideration made. But when you get to sit that one exam or so, we still don't see where the information, the actual payment is being made from the donor. Well, what happens is that you will not be able to access your grades if those monies are not cleared up on the account. So, of course, we know the challenges to clear the balances. So if you come into us to speak to us about the situation and you're able to provide official documentation from donors, or the donors are able to reach out to us to say that this money is coming in, however, it's going to be late, and based on that, we consider to provide temporary access or so on. What happens even after we see that those funds are still not coming in and we were given a deadline, what happens is that you will not be able to view your grades. You will not be able to access certain facilities until those payments are cleared. Now, what happens if even further along that time frame, the balance is on the account for some time, and we are reaching out to you via telephone, via email, and we are still unable to get through to you, or you've decided to shun or not answer our calls or emails? Well, the university is authorized to send your information to a collection agency, and they will use any legal means necessary to recover the funds on the university's behalf. So the collection agency will call, they'll knock on your doors, and so on, to collect the university's money. And of course, I know that no one wants to reach to that point, so I know that all persons present and who are listening will be clearing the fees by the deadline or utilizing the installment plan. Now, further to the collection agency, your accounts will also be sent to the credit bureau. So, the credit bureau specializes in the credit score. So once it is that later on you want to access a loan, then that will affect you being able to access loans based on your credit score. So we implore you to either make payments by the deadline to clear your fees or utilize the installment plans. Now, these are our payment outlets, and these outlets are authorized by the university to collect monies on our behalf, and at no point in time should you give monies to anyone outside of these agencies listed here. So we have the university bursary cashier, and once payment is made using this facility, it is updated to the student's account immediately. So you can go to the bursary cashier now and make payment, and you go online, check your account, and it will be present on the account. You can also make payments using the UWI e-commerce platform, and this also allows for payment to reflect immediately on the account. As well, in addition to those facilities, we have Paymaster, Bill Express, NCB full service locations, and Jamaica National. All right? I hope you guys are following. So we have spoken about the fees, and we have spoken about the payment locations and about the charges that would appear on a student account. Now, where would you access the student account? So the Bursary Online Student System is our platform. That is, it is the Billings and Receivables section and the Student Administrative Services section platform that students are able to communicate with us if they wish to request certain services from us. So as shown on the graphic to the right, the platform can be accessed by searching UWI online systems and then selecting under the student section, Bursary Online Student System. And once you go onto that website, you are required to log in using your 9-digit student ID number and password. And the password for new students is usually the date of birth in the format year, month, day. So once you access this platform, you will have access to our services, and these services include, as listed here, housing installment plan, tuition installment plan, tuition letter requests, and proxy authorization, which is a very important thing to note. So, as I just said, the proxy authorization is a very important thing to note, especially being that this is family orientation. So I know it's mostly parents and guardians that are here representing students. Well, once a student is accepted to the University of the West Indies, they are our clients. So they are the ones that we are authorized to speak with as it regards their financial account. So we are not authorized to give out any information to anyone else except the student if there is any issue with their account, or we need to contact them with any regards as it relates to their finances. Now, what if the student is unable to come to us by themselves or contact us regarding their finances, and they need someone else to do it on their behalf? Well, it is important that they complete the proxy authorization on the Bursary Online Student System. So what the proxy authorization does is to alert us to the fact that the student is sending someone else, John Brown or Jane Doe, to query something regarding their account on their behalf. So once that is present and you are actually the person that is entered and you have the requisite identification, then we are happy to release the information as directed by the student. If that is not present, then we will not be issuing any information on the student's account to you. So once again, I implore you to just point the students here, and if there are students here, I implore you to visit the Bursary Online Student System and enter the proxy authorization information. All right, so with that being said, I've come to the end of the presentation, but if you have any if you have any questions, you can feel free to contact us. We are open Mondays to Fridays, 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. You can contact us via telephone, and the numbers are outlined here. You may contact us via email as well, and also via WhatsApp. Of course, that is chats only, so no calls, no voice notes, chats only. And we are also open today Just for your benefit, we are open under the undercroft and also in the annex building to assist you with any questions that you may have. Thank you very much for having me, and once again, welcome to the University of the West Indies, Mona.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Fraser. Okay, so we're gonna hear briefly, like a minute each from our financial institutions about what they have on offer for helping us in the funding of your child awards education. The rep from SLB, we just invite our rep from SLB and the others, in line as we go quickly. JN, Scotia, just briefly, a minute to say, what is on offer from your entity, Edicom as well, and after which we'll have our team to include our bursar on standby to answer all your questions related to finances. Please come, yes, please join me on stage.
Good afternoon, UWI Mona. Oh, I want something better than that, man. Good afternoon, UWI Mona. Awesome. It's a pleasure just to be here, just to present to you some of our financial solutions from Students' Loan Bureau. We have a lot of solutions just to meet your needs. And as Malcolm X states, our quote, education is a passport for the future, and the future belongs to those who are prepared for it. Okay? So what you're doing now is preparing for the future, and that's a good thing. So that means the future belongs to? The future belongs to? The future belongs to you guys, okay? So my name is Siobhan Harvey, and I'm from the Students' Loan Bureau. And I'm just here to present to you some of the information about our loan products and services. What we really do is to provide tuition funding for Jamaican nationals who are pursuing their tertiary level education and who needs assistance with their financial, with their tuition financing. Okay? I would just also like to have you to know that 99% of the persons who apply for SLB have benefited. 99%. The only reason why you do not benefit is if you do not apply. If you do not apply. And of course, if you put faulty information in the application process, that would actually decline your application. Okay? So, what we do offer is 3 loan products. We have the targeted loan facility, we have the PACE loan facility, and we do have the postgraduate. Now, the postgraduate is for persons who are planning or thinking about going after their master's degree. But just to cater to you guys, we have the targeted loan and the PACE loan facility. Regarding the targeted loan facility, it's for persons who are pursuing their undergraduate studies, their first degree as stated earlier. Bars are not required to repay during their loan. Bars are not required to repay their loan while they're in school. Okay? We do have a phase that we call the moratorium period, and the moratorium actually means halt or hold period. In that period, you're not required to start making payments, but you can make payments though if you wish. Okay? Regarding the loan, the targeted loan, you can receive 100% financing. That's what we do offer. You can have up to basically 15 to 20 years to repay. As well, borrowers can get 15 to 20 years. For example, persons who are pursuing medicine, persons who are pursuing law, they'll benefit for 20 years. For persons who are pursuing their social sciences or so on, they'll get about 15 years, and that includes the time in school. Okay? We do offer one of the lowest interest rate island-wide, which is 7.8% during the moratorium phase, in which I was making reference to. That's while you're in school, and that's 9.5% while you're in repayment. And guys, these can be lowered as well. If you maintain a GPA of 2.5% and over, you can get a 2% reduction in the interest rate. It's what we call the good standing promotion, but we'll get there in a few, okay? Okay, so regarding the targeted loan, you can access up to $1 million per academic year. Effective April 1st, 2021, only 1 guarantor is required. So before that, we are told you need 2 guarantors to apply, and as announced by the Minister of Finance, Minister Nigel Clark, you only need 1 guarantor this time around. Okay, a mandatory credit check will be also done during the application process. Generally, the application period starts between April to about May, June, thereabout. But we had made some exemptions this time around, and we launched also our new portal on the 1st of June, along with the application portal. Okay, so we're pretty early in the application process. We're at the peak of the application process, so you can apply by going on www.slbja.com, and you'll hear me saying that a lot from here on. Okay, so that's www.slbja.com, and repayment begins the following year after completion of your loan, of your studies. Okay, you can also access grants up to $50,000, but as stated there, conditions do apply. Now, for the PACE loan facility, for this loan facility really caters for persons who are thinking about, okay, I want to repay my loan because, I can afford it. I want to repay my loan while I'm attending school. You have 7 years to repay. So this is for persons who are employed Jamaican professionals who are thinking about going to school. Okay? So as it stated there, it's employed professional pursuing undergraduate studies or parents, relatives, or spouse who wish to take a loan on behalf of a student. You can access also $1 million per academic year. Repayment begins 1 month after disbursement. So for example, if you complete your loan August, disbursement or repayment is going to begin or start in September, month end. Repayment is also via salary deduction, no standing order. You can have up to 7 years to repay, only one guarantor is required, and the interest rate for this pay as you study is 6% per annum. And this is really low. Apply online, guys. Go on www.slbja.com. What's that? www.ja.com. Awesome. You're with me. Now, the targeted market for this loan facility, of course, is stated there. Let me just make another change. Okay, so regarding the PACE loan, here's a good thing. If you are taking out, for example, a tuition amount of $282,000, your monthly installment can be as low as $4,800 basically. $4,800. And for the targeted loan, don't worry guys, if you should go on the portal, start the registration process, you can go on our EMI calculator and calculate what exactly your monthly installment will be if you take out a tuition amount. For example, $500, $4,500, whatever the cost might be, $1 million. Okay, a mandatory credit check is going to be done during the application process as well. No application deadline applies for the PACE loan, and you can go and apply on www.slb. Awesome. Okay, so how to apply for SLB? Of course, it's there. Visit our website at Awesome. So click on apply online, tap to access our customer portal, select and sign up the portal right there where it says select and sign up on the portal and complete the registration process with an active email address and a contact number. So the most important aspect of the application period or process last time around was the TRN. So your TRN was so important. This is a centerpiece of the application process. This time around it's your email address and the mobile number. So when applying for the loan, ensure that you're using an active email and a very secured contact number. For example, something that you're using actively. Okay? You can also, when applying, what will happen is that a one-time password will be sent to your email and mobile number, and you'll be required to select the new loan. For example, for first-time applicant, if you're a returning student, you'll be required to select returning student, but for a new applicant, you'll be required to select new loan. Okay? Complete the online application and upload the relevant documents. So let me just go again. So you go on the website, www.slbja.com, select apply online, the registration process, and while registering, you'll be required, a one-time password will be sent to your email during the application process. That's when you're verifying your TRN, your email address, and the contact number. Okay? You'll be required to select new loan as a new applicant, and select continue rather, and upload the relevant documents. For the guarantor, your guarantor is also required to register and complete the guarantor process on the customer portal as well. And the guarantor email is also important. Okay? That's step 3. We'll move forward now into the next step. That's payment of fees. So pay your fees via customer portal at any of our payment facilities, as Bill Express, Paymaster, or NCB. You can even use Scotiabank online or NCB online as well. Now, the good thing about our new portal that we have launched on the 1st of June is that you can now go on the portal, on your dashboard, select fees, and go ahead and make payments online. Guys, your payments will take 3 to 5 working days when it is paid through NCB or Bill Express, but when you make payments online, it will reflect the same hour. Okay? So up next, we have the submission of documents. Let's go back. So upon approval, you're going to be required to submit the required loan documents at the SLB via our drop-off facility. Kindly note also that you may also use the institution's Dropbox. You do offer that, and we collect documents from them on a weekly basis, especially in the peak of the document submission period. Okay? Now, some of the documents that will be required, or let me see here. For first-time applicants, your TRN will be needed. You will need a passport-size photograph, a valid ID, that's a national ID. We need your passport-size photograph, and this has to be certified. We're going to need your birth certificate, address verification, and you can also access this address verification if you do not have access to a utility bill that's in your name or a bank statement. You can use our address verification form that is also on the portal and our resource center. Okay, you're also going to need a credit bureau consent form. Now, guys, when applying, you're going to meet up on our document page. The documents will be on the portal. Some of them will be there for you to generate, so you don't have to worry. Go on the portal, select generate. The document will be required to be downloaded, signed, and upload. Okay? And just as a teaser, we're going to have some form of giveaways, so please pay close attention, okay? All right. So up next, we have, regarding the documents, okay, so the advantages of going through SLB for financing your tuition. We offer one of the lowest educational interest rates island-wide, which is 6% per annum, and it can be as low as 4% under special circumstances. Okay? For the moratorium period, that's also a benefit because we want to have you to focus on your studies. We want to have you focusing on your dreams while you're in school. Okay, we do also offer grants up to $50,000, and as stated earlier, conditions do apply. Another benefit is that we do not need any collateral at all. We do not need any land title. We do not need a car title. We do not need any of that for you to be a beneficiary or applicant of SLBR, just for you to benefit. Okay? We do offer also concessions. So persons who are a part of the PART program, you will receive 35% reduction in the processing fee. For persons who are children of a public sector employee, you're going to receive a 1% reduction in the interest rate during the repayment period and a 35% discount in the processing fee. I didn't say what the processing fee was, but this time around, it's $6,250. That's for the processing fee. You're also going to be charged insurance, a moratorium insurance fee for first-time applicants. During the application process, there's no set cost for that. That's because it's based on the tuition amount and the program that you're doing. Okay? So for students who apply and qualify for Jamaica Values and Attitude Program for tertiary students, that's JAMVAT, you're going to also receive a 70%, who's going to receive 70% of their tuition from SLB because 30% will be taken care of by the Ministry of Education by way of the said program. Okay, so for persons who are going through JAMVAT, we're going to only finance 70% of the tuition amount. And also for persons who are part of, next for it to change, next. So for persons who are part of a registered charity organization and organization permanently for at least a year will also benefit as well for a reduction in their interest rate. Okay, and this is part of our good standing promotion. Okay, now regarding the good standing promotion that I was actually making mention of, persons or students who maintain a GPA of 2.5% and over will receive a 2% reduction in their interest rate. Customers in repayment whose accounts are current are no more than 30 days past due, you will receive a 2% reduction in the interest rate. Borrowers who are permanently employed to a registered charity for at least 1 year will also receive a benefit of 10% debt forgiveness as well. So it's not 2%, my bad. It's actually 10% debt forgiveness as well. So what's the next step for going forward? Anybody want to guess that? I heard somebody saying it. The next step is to go on the portal and apply. Go on the portal and apply. Go on the portal and apply. We are ready to help you pursue your dreams. We're ready to help you change and transform your family. We believe that you have all that it takes. You're in a very good place. The fact that you're a part of this institution, you're in a very good place, okay? We want to help you achieve your dream. We want to help you transform your community, your family, and the entire economy on a whole, and make Jamaica a better place. God bless you.
You can sit. You can sit.
Thank you so very much, Chevron, for sharing with us on that. Now we're going to hear from JN and Scotiabank. Mr. Powell's asked us to come quickly. So, and I'm holding each their 2.5 minutes just to really share on the products that you can benefit from in the funding of your child's education. So we will start with JN and then Scotia, and then we will entertain your questions. Regarding Office of Student Financing, I'm going to invite you to go to the UWI homepage, look for the Office of Student Financing, and you'll get details about our scholarships and bursaries within that space. So, over to you.
Thank you very much. Welcome, students and parents, to the University of the West Indies Mona campus. We know we have locals and we have overseas students every year matriculating into this awesome university. I came here. So, my name is Michael Andre Collins, Manager Youth Banking at JN Bank. And I'd like to say that we are pleased that you've made it so far to earning the opportunity to earn yourself an extensive education in the form of a degree, whether it's an undergrad or a postgrad. Ladies and gentlemen, we at JN Bank are pleased to be here because we have a partnership with the University of the West Indies and some 19 other tertiary institutions across the island. We do this through what is called our JN Way program, or what is an acronym for JN Wise Aspiring Youth Program. So through this program, we have youth ambassadors who are across these 20 or so tertiary institutions across the island, who will give you information on our products and services as well as on financial literacy and empowerment. So parents, don't worry. Today is just the first day. You have a lot to absorb, but your students, your ward or child or children will have the opportunity of interfacing with our JN Way ambassadors here at the UWI campus. Now, how can we benefit you now? You heard earlier from the Student Loan Bureau. We urge you to take the information that is given to you today and to not only take it but to act. So just like the Student Loan Bureau, we invite you to go on our website, which is jnbank.com, very easy, jnbank.com, and I know you have your smartphones with you today, so take it out and go on it and start browsing now. We have our youth banking page there, so all you have to do is to scroll down to the end of that website page, click on youth banking, and it will show you the products and services that will be applicable to you and how we can help you towards financing your educational journey here at the UWI Mona campus. Now, ladies and gentlemen, just to tell you quickly some of the ways that you can actually finance your educational facilities. We have what is called our personal unsecured loans. All right? Now, JN Bank does not require any collateral whatsoever. All we ask is that someone be able to pay for that loan and then that can assist with financing the education here at UWI. So the criteria for you to access such a loan is also on the website, but it's simply somebody being able to pay for it, whether you're self-employed or you're employed. You have to show us some evidence that you can actually pay for that loan over a year or two or up to 5 years. So we do have the facility. If you're a civil servant, we go as many as 7 years to repay that loan. Another way for you to finance your child or children's education is if you're an entrepreneur. We have access to our JN small business loans, and we have a wide variety of those. So again, at JN Bank, we have a wide variety of options available to you to finance your children or child's education. So, apart from that, we have the options for persons who've found the money for the first year, whether out of pocket, that you've saved it or so, but you want to consider planning for year 2 or 3 or 4, planning ahead. What we say is that you do some compulsory savings. So again, we do have various options that are available to allow you to do that. Help us to help you best. Our social media pages are also available. So if you want to go on Instagram, you can look for JNWay. It's as simple as that, at JNWay, and like us on Instagram, and you'll be able to follow what we're doing and how we're encouraging you to save or to access financing. We also have the wider JN Group social media handles, so you can look for Jamaica National or Jamaica National Group or simply JN Bank Limited, whether it's on Instagram or on Facebook, and you will be able to access our financing. Again, please access information very, very easily and quickly on our website, which is simply JN Bank Limited. Or, a number of you are more familiar with the Jamaica National. You can go there and you'll be able to find us. Again, our desk is right here in the auditorium at the back. We have representatives here who can give you more information. So I know there are persons on the outside and on the undercroft listening. You can come inside the auditorium and you'll be able to interface with our team here. Again, I'm Michael Andre Collins, Manager of Youth Banking here at Jane Bank, and we'll help you find a way. Thank you very much, and again, welcome.
Good afternoon, parents. Good afternoon, students. I am hearing you have 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes. So I'll try indeed to use those 2 minutes. So I'm actually here, as you see, representing Scotiabank. And what exactly is it that we have? We have to offer to our parents, students to facilitate the continuing of their education. I must first say congratulations. Parents, students, I know you have made plenty sacrifices thus far. Students, you have done well to earn your position at the University of the West Indies. As part of the UWI family, we are located just on the Ring Road. And what exactly we can do to facilitate you seeing that your child's financial education is completed. So at Scotiabank, we offer financial services in the form of day-to-day banking. So if your child is here in Kingston, you are out in the rural part of the island, your child need quick funds, right? We do offer our day-to-day banking or online services. You can simply go online, transfer funds, and your child will have access to that funds immediately to take care of their financial needs. We also offer loan facilities. Loan facilities can be on an unsecured basis. Loan facilities can also be on a secured basis. Secured facility normally allows you a longer term, right? And also a lower interest rate. And so if you have any asset, you can utilize those assets to access finances to pay for your child's education. This, of course, provides a greater disposable income. And when your child would have finished college, I'm sure they will be more than willing to assist you in paying back those loans, right? We also offer protection. So you can also insure those loans. So in the event of an untimely demise, critical illness, that's a living benefit, your loan can be fully liquidated while your child's education would have been taken care of. And being a financial institution, we cover all aspects of your financial needs. And so we also offer investment products, right? So if you have a lump sum funds just now, rather than have it sitting in a savings account, you could invest that money. So when the tuition become due, that funds would have earned some additional funds. And of course, as I indicated before, we also have an additional arm, which is our insurance arm. We have representatives at the branch. You can also call our contact center, right, 960-2675, and they could forward you to the respective areas. We have an area down the back, so for more information, we invite you to come on down, and we can also capture your personal details and have a more one-to-one conversation as to how we can make this dream a reality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Messrs. Pommels and Collins, both gentlemen who I know very well for a long time and who have lent significant support to us over the many years. We're going to facilitate your questions and answers on these financial matters right now. If you have a question, we ask that you stand in line at the microphone. We'll take your questions now. And the team from the bursary, as also members from the respective financial institutions, will answer your questions. Bear in mind that we have a booth at the Undercroft. Big sign says SAS. There are team members there even now willing to answer your questions. So you may not get your questions answered right here, right now. We may not be able to entertain your questions right here, right now, but it's a booth with personnel who are adequately equipped to respond to these questions. So we'll take your questions now, after which you'll hear from the Director of Campus Security on security matters, and then we'll be out of here, all right? So we invite you. Now we'll take your questions. Bursa, we invite you to join us on stage, just in case there are questions that will require your input. Now, to my left, we'll take the one from the left, then center, then we go back to the left. Speak now. Oh, it's no, we're not hearing you clearly.
So on the center of it in the meantime.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. For the gentleman from the Student Loan Bureau, you mentioned offer 100% financing for tuition fees, but do you also offer financing for the hall fees? I didn't hear any mention of that. And also, when you said that the student does not pay anything for the period of the school, the period that the student is in school, does that extend to postgraduate? So suppose the student wants to do postgraduate studies. Does the student have to start repaying the loan before the postgraduate study?
So thank you so much for that question. That's a brilliant question. Someone give a round of applause, please. Awesome. So with regards to that question, for persons who are applying for SLB, you will only cover for tuition studies. So it's only for your tuition. So for persons who are doing boarding, unfortunately, we do not facilitate such financing. It's only for tuition, okay? Now regarding the postgraduate, we do make mention of the moratorium phase, which is a hard phase. And as stated earlier, the repayment will begin the September following your year of completion. So for example, if you should complete June this year, you're looking to start repayment September next year, by the 1st of September, okay? With regards to, you asked something about postgraduate? Regarding postgraduate? Okay, so persons are normally required to, sometimes they're placed on a payment arrangement. With regards to the postgraduate, what I can do is to take your information at the booth, do want to give you a follow-up regarding that question, okay? You can stop by the booth right here, and and leave your information. I'll be happy to assist you going forward, okay? Thank you. Give a round of applause, please.
Thank you.
Hello? Hi. My turn? Okay, good afternoon again, everyone. As I said before, I'm an incoming first-year student. My questions are directed towards the bursary department. So I received a ministry scholarship which covers full tuition as well as maintenance. Now, based on my understanding of the agreement between the university and the ministry, the money will be paid over directly to the university, right? So I'm wondering, is there a process in which I can claim, because it's both tuition and maintenance fees that will be paid over. Is there a process in which I can claim the maintenance fees from the university, or will it be kept by the university as a credit to the account? That's the first question.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for the question. The answer in short is that any funding that we receive directly from the ministry, if there is any credit, then it is for the ministry to direct us what to do with it.
So that therefore means regarding the maintenance money, the ministry is
I'm
going
not sure
to...
when you say maintenance what we're talking about. Help me.
All right, so I was offered a full tuition, so that covers just the tuition, and then an additional sum of money, about $60,000, for books and any other sort of expenses, living expenses, etc. So I'm wondering, by my understanding, all of that money, both the tuition money and the maintenance money, will be paid over to the university. So my question is, that $60,000, will I be able to claim it within my years of studying, or will it be kept by the university throughout the entire duration of the course?
Those funds, once they come across like that from ministry, then they will be made available once we receive the money from ministry.
Okay, and is there a, how do I go about finding some information on the process of claiming that money? Claiming the money?
That would be SAS. It would be one of those ladies
All right.
who would be able to answer your question.
Okay, no problem. I have a follow-up question now. So my second question is, in Ms. Fraser's presentation, she spoke about late payments or payments beyond the deadline, and she said that if the donor, so I'm assuming that the ministry in this case is considered the donor, if the donor is not able to pay within the deadline, then there are temporary provisions that will be made. So I'm wondering if, since this is a commitment between the ministry and the university to pay over the money, do those temporary provisions apply to me as well?
When Candace spoke about, when Ms. Fraser spoke about donors, she was talking about private sector. The University of the West Indies is funded by 17 governments, many of whom give scholarships for their nationals through their various ministries. Once they give us a letter of commitment, they usually make payment within the next 90 days, 180 days. Based on the commitment and the payment plan for the particular government, so I'm assuming you're talking about the government of Jamaica,
Yes.
then it is applied to your account as a credit. So you would see it on your account within 30 to 90 days of us getting the letter of commitment from the ministry.
Okay, so therefore, just to confirm one more time, that means that I, as the student, will not be required to make any payment in the event that the ministry may be late in making any sort of payment.
Correct. The ministry sends us a list like PATH, and we work from the ministry list.
Okay.
So let's say we get to September or middle of October. If we do not have you on a list from the ministry, then we will call you and let you know.
All right, thank you. That concludes
I would
my
like to
questions.
point out that Ms. Fraser was very clear about donors, and that is for those private individuals who are funding students. Even if they call, I believe that's what you said, Ms. Fraser. Even if they call and say they're going to pay, there must be a time frame. Otherwise, we will not be crediting the student's account.
Okay.
Yeah?
All right, thank you.
Mike.
So just me. Okay. Hello. All right. Good afternoon. This is for the Student Loan Bureau. It's about the guarantor. Can the guarantor be over 60 years old? And if yes, are there any specific conditions that they have to meet?
The question.
Okay, hi. My question is about the guarantor for the Student Loan Bureau. Can the guarantor be over 60 years old? And if yes, is there specific requirements they have to meet?
Okay, thank you so much for that question. The guarantor, based on our requirement, it has to be between the age of 18 to 60. But under the special circumstances in which a person can stand as a guarantor, an assessment would have to be done. But if it is that you're going to stand as a guarantor, during the application process, when applying, you might receive, you'd have to come and visit us in office in order to speak with someone, just to get some further details with regards to that. But generally, it has to be between the age of 18 to 60. So if the person is trying to register online as a guarantor, they might be going through some difficulties. They will experience some difficulties in trying to submit the application. So best advice is to come in office to speak with someone. The person would have to be somewhat financially capable of standing as a guarantor, and as well, they would have to. It's based on some assessment that would have to be that has to be done in office, really.
As it relates to the 60 thing, does if they're 60 as I'm applying, is it fine, or do I still have to go into office?
Sorry, hear that?
If the person has turned 60, the year that I'm applying for, let's say right now the person is 60.
Yeah, if they're, for example, they're 59.
No, as in signing up they're 60 years old. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, man, so the person can go ahead and apply and register as a guarantor, but some assessment will be done just to verify, though, their qualifications, really. So they can go ahead and apply.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. If you have further questions, then we invite you to go to the SAS section under the undercraft. You can get additional information. I'd like to thank my team here on stage, the Bursa, persons from SAS, the financial institutions, Student Loan Bureau. Put your hands together for the team. And please remember, you can get additional information from the booths. Now, we have two things to do, and we are out of here. You will now hear from the Director of Security briefly on matters of security, after which you will have an opportunity to meet the Student Services and Development Managers for the halls that your children will be living in or are assigned to include those who are committing students and committing students managers. So you'll get to meet them, to ask questions of them, to find out more about those halls of residence. So we'll divide you thereafter in those groupings, and you'll be able to have a chat with your SSDM, right? Before that though, we have on stage our Director of Security, Mr. Norman Haywood, and we invite him to the lectern to share with us briefly regarding safety and security on campus. Put your hands together and make welcome Mr. Haywood.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure for me to be here this afternoon, and I'll be sharing with you briefly about the security aspects on campus. So on behalf of the collective security providers on the University of the West Indies Mona campus, I take this opportunity to welcome you to this most prestigious organization or institution. Now, this presentation is to inform you about security on campus and also for you to be able to assist in keeping your students, our students safe while they are here. Now, there are 3 levels of security on the campus. The National Police, that's the Jamaica Constabulary Force, they have a post here called the Mona Police Post. And then there's a campus police unit that operates from my office, and they are on campus to give a 24-hour coverage. Then there's a private contracted security providers, which is provided by guardsmen. These are the guards at the gates, at the entrances to different offices and the lecture rooms, and they're on the halls, etc. They patrol the campus on a 24-hour. We also have a state-of-the-art surveillance system, which is monitored around the clock at a central monitoring stations. So we do have cameras around campus that we monitor on a 24-hour basis. And the monitoring station is up to accept calls from students with whatever security issues they may be having. So from the moment the students are enrolled, a special relationship is established between them and the campus administration. The campus has a legal, social, and professional responsibility to deliver certain services which include reasonable protection from foreseeable harm. In return, students have a responsibility to take care of their personal security and properties. And this is where you come in to always remind them and encourage them of their responsibility. As you know, the campus is very large. We're looking at over 650 acres. We do have perimeter fencing, so it's actually a gated community. And we have a couple of main access points: Queen's Gate, Irvine Hall Gate, and Post Office Gate, that students can access whilst they are here. Now, security on campus is regulated by the Campus Security Act, which regulates vehicle parking on campus. And we ensure that vehicles park in designated areas. So when you visit campus for whatever reason, you'll be directed where to park in these areas. And there's a main car park, which is designated for both students and visitors. And sometimes there are violations which result in vehicles being clamped, and nobody want to lose a $3,000 to pay just to have a clamp removed. So please obey the instructions, and whilst you're visiting, and tell students to obey the instructions while they are here. Now, security officers are employed at the different access points, and from time to time, they will check vehicles coming in, especially at nights. There are security on all and at administrative buildings. Patrols are provided to cover the campus, to respond to emergencies, and to provide escort to students. Now, we have a special app that the university has developed, was developed by university students, and we have been pushing this app since 2020. Now, it is encouraged that you purchase this app for your ward or your child, because what it does, it gives them access to security and emergency situation at their fingertip. It's an app that they download on their phone, and whilst they're on campus, especially during the nights, if they need escort from one point to the other, they can have that done, especially for students who are working in labs late at nights. And the app also provides a tracking whereby they can add at least 10 persons, including you, who can basically track them when they're on or off campus. So if a student leave to come home, leave campus, say, 8 o'clock tonight, and operationalize the Rush Alert app, you will know when that student leave campus. And you'll be able to go online, and if you have the app, and track that student, whether they are in a taxi or whether they are on foot or on a bus or something, and you will know what time they are supposed to reach, where they are at a particular point, and so on. So it's very useful for you to have this app. A panic alarm is also being instituted on it too. Students can prevent or minimize the chances of being a victim of crime. The most common way of preventing crime is awareness. So we advise them to be aware of their surroundings, especially first-year students who don't understand the nature of the surrounding communities. You have students who get invited by other students or by persons who they meet to go to other areas. And it's best for you to advise them to be aware of their surroundings. And they are to develop a positive attitude towards security. They have to know how to protect their interests, their property, etc., whilst on campus. First-year students especially are most vulnerable. And our data has shown that they are the ones who normally lose their laptops, their computers, their smartphones, and even their banking information. Sometimes they are so trusting. They meet other students who they might give their banking cards and their PIN number to, and right away they have access. Sometimes students leave their computers or their smartphones and the gazebos where they are studying. This is just for you to advise them to be more careful with their personal effects. The university also has a taxi policy where we vet the taxis that come on campus so that we can be sure that students who utilize the taxi services that are provided by taxi operators who we have vetted are safe. So advise them only to use those taxis that we have vetted. I know that there are taxis that operate, especially for commuting students at Irving Hall Gate. They are to ensure that only legitimate taxis are taken, because there are many of taxis persons operating out there who are not genuine, especially those without red plate. And it's good for them, if they are going to be taking taxis off campus, that they basically ensure that the driver badge is displayed in the car, that it's red plate, and for further security, they can take a snapshot of the registration number, letter, and send to you that I'm on this taxi and I'm heading home right now. Advise them to report all incidents and threat. Stalking, bullying, sexual assault, sexual harassment, domestic violence, etc. Encourage them to report. The university has a zero tolerance policy towards any of these offenses, and it's up to you as parents and guardians to encourage them to report at all times. Also encourage them to download the Rush Alert app, and please follow your instinct. If something does not seem right, it probably isn't. The university campus is a no smoking zone, but we know from time to time students will experiment. They will be introduced to substances, and it's up to you to recognize any behavioral change that you see in them and to seek help as soon as possible through the university guidance and counseling and psychiatry department. And for your information, there are a couple of numbers that you can make inquiries on. If you have a pattern where your child or ward visit you every weekend or every other weekend or come home, and if you develop a pattern and you are not seeing them, you are not hearing from them, then you can call to find out what's happening. And the central monitoring station number, they are there. You can call, make inquiries. Then there's a Mona police post. There's a campus security base number. They're all displayed there. And then my office of Director of Security, you can call just to make inquiry. If something doesn't seem right, something is happening that you want to make. A lot of parents have done that, and it has been done to their benefit in terms of the security of their child. So we are here for you, and we are just asking you to encourage your child or your ward to be security conscious and to work with the security team that's on campus in order to make them safe. 99.9% of students who attend the university will go through their 5 years or their 4 years without experiencing any security issues. But for that 1%, we would want to be there for you. Thank you very much, and congratulations again. All the very best.
Thank you very much, ACP Haywood. Very excellent use of your time, very critical information for parents and family members and for students. At student orientation, you'll get detailed information. Students are, more around security. We aim to improve on the delivery of everything that we do. And so parents, you have in your hands an evaluation sheet. I'm going to ask you kindly just to complete the sheet and to leave it with one of our facilitators there in red, or at the door where you entered. Just leave the sheet there with them so that we can make a full assessment of what was done today and how we can improve on the delivery. Let me pause at this point in time just to say thank you
thank you for being here today, for sharing with us, for your commitment to partner with us on this journey. And we commit to you that we'll do our utmost best to help your students succeed here on the campus. At this point in time, there are many persons who are seeking to live in a hall of residence. A hall of residence here on campus is an important space for the learning and development of your child. And therefore, we want you to meet the educational professionals who will be taking charge of those spaces. So if you apply to live in a hall of residence, we will call the name of the hall. The representative will be at a section here in the assembly hall. You'll be able to meet with the persons to get information about the hall. Some will go to the hall to get a tour of the facility, so forth and so on. So I'm going to be calling the name of the halls now. If you're going to be on campus, we invite you to go and meet your SSDM. Those of you may choose to go to the bursary now to engage with your payments. The cashiers are still open. The area of the undercraft for information from the bursary, SAS, they are in place there. We invite you to join us there as well. But for all those who will be living in hall, or if you wish to live in a hall of residence, we ask you to remain behind in this room, and you'll be led, guided, directed by the team from the respective halls. So let me start with Aston Preston Hall. Aston Preston Hall. The persons with the signs for Aston Preston Hall. Ms. Vincent, you and your team, we need the team right now in the assembly hall. Dr. Jones, the manager for the hall, is standing right here. Aston Preston Hall. Can we have Chancellor Hall, Mr. Bent, you and your team? Next in line, Mr. Roger Bent, you and your team, towards the back of the assembly hall right here. The sign for Aston Preston Hall and Chancellor Hall. Irving Hall, SSDM and team for Irving Hall. Please, Irving Hall, come to the front here, Irving Hall. Georgia Lane Hall, Georgia Lane Hall. So all those for Irving Hall, I see you're right here. Georgia Lane Hall is next in line. So all those for Irving Hall right here. Georgia Lane, the back of this row here. Mary C. Cole Hall right here, right up front here, Mary C. Cole Hall. Elsa Leorini Hall, where are you? I see Elsa Leorini Hall, she's waving right there, Elsa Leorini Hall. Just join her in that section of the room, Elsa Leorini Hall. Mary C. Cole right here. Could you stand with your sign, please? Thank you. Rex Netterford Hall, to my far right, Rex Netterford Hall. Rex Netterford Hall, my far right, your left. Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall, I'm going to ask you to go in the vicinity of Scotia, the seats there, Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall in the vicinity of Scotiabank. You'll meet your representative there, Mr. Hamilton. Oh, my platform party. Yes, thank you very much. You've been so faithful. You know, you're sitting through this. Thank you so very much, team members on the platform. And if you have giveaways, you can share them with us. We'll, use them for orientation, for student orientation, and so on as well. So Mary C. Cole, Taylor to the back, Rex to the side, Rex Setterford Hall, Leslie Robinson Hall. Thank you. Georgia Lane. Georgia Lane is right there. See the crew? Who is meeting the Georgia Lane crew?